Lisa Burner. Your brother's looking for you. I think he believes me when I say I don't know anything, but I'm not sure. I'm deleting everything off this phone just in case. I have a bad feeling about this asterisk. AVA, be careful. We shouldn't talk for a few weeks. I overheard 2 shifters today, sounds like they're finally searching asterisk. Lisa Burner. I love you Avenue. I'm worried. Maybe I've watched too many crime documentaries, but I'll text you when it's safer asterisk. I clutch my phone tightly, the hard edges of the case biting into my palm as I rush out of the lecture hall. My heart pounds, frantic, chaotic, as the words I overheard swirl through my mind like a broken record. They're searching. Escape, the word takes root, and I act on instinct, weaving through crowds of students, their faces blurring into meaningless shapes. Every glance feels loaded, every shadow a threat. At the bus stop, I collapse onto the bench, gasping for air. My eyes dart over the crowd, desperate for any sign of pursuit. The minutes stretch endlessly, the weight of paranoia pressing down on me. Finally, the bus arrives, and I board without looking back, sinking into a seat at the rear. As the bus lurches forward, I clutch my bag to my chest, scanning the faces around me. Normal people, ordinary movements, but I can't shake the feeling that someone is watching. The ride becomes a dizzying haze of suspicion, each passing streetlight illuminating my fear. When the bus screeches to a stop, I leap from my seat and stumble off, relief flooding me as I spot Celine waiting at the curb, her bright blue eyes a familiar anchor in a world that feels suddenly hostile. Celine, I whisper, my voice trembling. She trots to me, tail wagging, and for a brief moment, the world softens. Together, we move quickly toward my apartment, my steps quickening with every passing block. Once inside, I slam the door shut and slide to the floor. The sobs come suddenly, racking, uncontrollable. Fear, frustration, isolation. They crash over me in waves as Celine whines and presses close, her warmth a quiet comfort. I cling to her fur, the steady rhythm of her breathing grounding me. I wake with a start, my cheek pressed against my knees. The apartment is bathed in pale moonlight, and the nightmare lingers on the edges of my mind. Celine is curled at my feet, watching me with silent concern. You're a lifesaver, I murmur, stroking her soft fur. My stomach growls, and I force myself up, groaning at the stiffness in my limbs. Dinner time, girl. Cooking is mechanical, the sizzle of the pan and the smell of sautéed vegetables offering a small comfort. But my mind won't stop drifting, back to the shifters, back to the messages. I won't go back to being hunted. I can't. A sudden noise jolts me from my thoughts. I turn to see Celine in the doorway, the glimmer of a familiar purple crystal clutched in her jaws. Where did you find that? I ask, half laughing as I gently take it from her. The crystal feels oddly warm, its surface smooth under my fingertips. Then it happens, an electric jolt that shoots through me, setting my nerves alight. My breath catches, my gaze locking onto the crystal as it shimmers with an ethereal glow. A voice, a soft, melodic whisper, echoes through my mind. It's time. I whirl around, heart racing, searching for the source. But the room is empty, save for Celine, who tilts her head, sensing the change in the air. Who's there? I call out, my voice trembling. Silence. The crystal stills in my hand, now cold and lifeless. And yet, the whisper lingers, sending a shiver down my spine. It's time. I try to slip the crystal back into the drawer of my nightstand, but Celine darts forward, wriggling between me and the furniture like a furry battering ram. Frustrated, I yank my hand back, the crystal still clutched tightly in my fist. Celine down, I scold, but she doesn't budge. Her pale blue eyes remain locked on the crystal in my grasp, unyielding. With a resigned sigh, I shove the crystal into the pocket of my jeans, ignoring the uneasy weight that settles like a stone in my gut. Celine's tail wags triumphantly, and she trots back toward the kitchen, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting me to follow. The smell of sautéed vegetables greets me as I re-enter the kitchen, and my stomach rumbles in protest. But before I can plate the food, Celine darts underfoot, nearly sending me sprawling. I sidestep her clumsily, glaring down at her. What is with you tonight? I mutter, stirring the pan with more force than necessary. Celine whines again, her gaze fixed on the front door. Realization dawns. She wants to go outside. All right. I stomp over and open the door. But Celine doesn't move. She whines again, eyes flicking between me and the dark street beyond. My frown deepens. You want me to come with you, don't you? Her unblinking stare says it all. Fine. But this better be quick, I'm starving. I toss my dinner into the microwave, resigning myself to a lukewarm meal, and clip the leash to Celine's collar. The second the door cracks open, she surges forward, nearly yanking me off my feet. The evening air is crisp and cool, a welcome contrast to the suffocating tension in my chest. Celine forges ahead, her nose twitching with every step. There's a strange urgency in her pace, purposeful, like she's following an invisible trail. What are we doing here? I wonder, but my feet keep moving, compelled by some silent force. Half an hour later, regret weighs on me like a lead blanket. We've wandered into a small park, the trail winding through a dense patch of city forest. I'm cold, hungry, and uneasy, every rustle of leaves making me jump. Celine, enough, I tug on her leash, irritation bubbling to the surface. We're going home. But Celine doesn't listen. She pulls harder, almost dragging me off balance. Asterisk, you've got to be kidding me, asterisk, I groan, shoving my hand into my pocket and brushing the crystal instinctively. Its surface is warm, too warm, and my unease deepens. Celine leads me off the trail, into the shadowy treeline. The air grows heavier here, damp and tinged with decay. Moonlight filters through the branches, casting eerie patterns on the ground. I grip the leash tighter, my heart pounding in my ears. This isn't normal. Celine moves with single-minded focus, her every step deliberate. I open my mouth to protest, but the words die on my lips. An inexplicable heat blooms in my chest, spreading like a slow burn. My breaths come faster, shallower. What's happening to me? I whisper, my voice barely audible. Celine pauses, her nose twitching as she scents the air. I look around trying to get my bearings, but the forest is endless, a maze of twisting trees and shadows that blur together, offering no clear path home. A tremor runs through me, my fingers spasming around the leash. The shadows stretch unnaturally, gnarled tendrils that seem to reach for me, pulling me into their depths. Dizziness washes over me, and I stumble, the world tilting dangerously. Celine, I rasp, my voice cracking. A soft whine breaks through the haze. I blink, my vision clearing just enough to see her, standing still, her pale blue eyes fixed on mine. For a moment, I see it. A flicker of recognition. Understanding. She knows. Celine steps closer, pressing her cold nose to mine. The contact stills the chaos swirling inside me, and in the silence that follows, a voice ripples through my mind. Asterisk, hello, my human. I'm so glad you're finally listening, asterisk. The crystal in my pocket pulses like a heartbeat, alive, waiting. I freeze, unable to breathe, unable to move, as the realization settles over me. Celine hasn't been dragging me on some random walk. She's been leading me to something. Or someone. And now, I can't shake the feeling that my life will never be the same again.
Hey everyone, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy the audiobooks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support us further, consider becoming a Patreon member. As a member, you'll gain the ability to request the next part of a novel audiobook I've uploaded, depending on your Patreon tier.
I stare at Celine in shock, emotions roiling within me like a sea at storm. Searing heat flushes my skin, beads of sweat forming along my hairline. My legs tremble, the world tilting precariously, and I clutch at Celine's fur, her solid presence the only thing anchoring me. Are you? I swallow thickly, the words catching in my throat. Are you my wolf? The question seems absurd even as it leaves my lips, defying all logic and reason. And yet, as Celine preens, her gaze gleaming with an intelligence that transcends any mere dog, a hysterical giggle bubbles up from deep within me. My wolf is a husky, I wheeze between breathless peals of laughter. How does this even happen? Celine's ears flatten against her skull, and she emits a low growl, her displeasure rippling through our newfound connection like a physical force. I am not a husky, her voice echoes in my mind, resolute and unyielding. The laughter dies on my lips as abruptly as it began. 23 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, 4. And I gape at her, struggling to reconcile the reality before me. But you look like one. Appearances can be deceiving, my human. There's a hint of amusement in her tone now, as if she's enjoying my bewilderment. I am a wolf through and through. This form is merely a vessel, a guise to help me blend in among your kind. My brow furrows as I study her. Nope. Still a husky. Why didn't you tell me sooner? The words come out harsher than I intend, tinged with a hint of accusation. If my wolf had appeared, my life wouldn't have been so terrible. And maybe at the gala, I wouldn't have been. No. No point thinking over things that have already happened. Though I can't help glaring at my dog in accusation. Celine regards me steadily, her eyes ancient and inscrutable. You were not ready, she says simply. Your path has been a winding one, filled with obstacles and pain. But you were young, and they had too much power over you. I suck in a sharp breath. her words striking a chord. 446. 23 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, 4. Deep within me. The weight of my past, the isolation, the rejection, the constant struggle to find my place presses down upon me, and I sag against her, suddenly exhausted. Celine nuzzles my cheek, her warmth enveloping me like a comforting embrace. Now, you can embrace your destiny, she murmurs. You have learned that you are strong, but you are more than. You know, my human. And I will be by your side every step of the way, guiding you toward the path you were always meant to walk. I pat her fur, feeling the connection between us, marveling at its existence. I realize now that it's what's been helping me get through it all. I can even feel how it's a wall sheltering me from the pain of rejection. But more importantly, Celine, I whimper, as pain shoots through my abdomen. I'm on fire. Why does this hurt? Strength comes with a roar, and weakness comes with a whimper, Celine says, like that means anything at all. That doesn't explain anything. I was between the worst cramps I've ever felt in my life. 1446. 23 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, 4. Celine stands and trots away a few paces, looking behind her. Get up, little cub. We have a long way to. 1 go. I groan. Are you serious right now? I can't move. I'm just going to die here for a little while. Why'd you take me so far from home? There is a place we need to be, she explains, and I can hear the patience in her words. Come now. I push to my feet with a groan, swaying with every step. We should have taken an Uber. Not for this. She stays just out of reach, leading me somewhere. It isn't far now. I follow Celine's lead, every step a torturous effort as pain lances through my abdomen. Sweating, vision blurring, it feels impossible. But Celine's steady presence urges me forward. The trees seem to close in around us, casting eerie shadows across our path. Celine navigates the darkness with ease, her lithe form weaving through the undergrowth with a grace that belies her apparent husky exterior. Nah. That when I think I can go no further the tread north to. 14.46. 23 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, 4. Reveal a tiny clearing. The canopy above allows just a glimpse of the night sky. With a groan, I collapse onto a soft carpet of moss and fallen leaves, my body trembling. The pain intensifies, threatening to consume me from within. I curl into a ball, whimpering. Celine settles beside me, her warmth a comforting presence. What's happening to me? I rasp, my voice strained and hoarse. Celine's eyes gleam in the dim light. You are becoming, she murmurs. I grit my teeth, riding the waves of agony that rack my body. Every fiber of my body feels as though it's being torn asunder, only to be remade anew. Sweat soaks my clothes, my hair plastered to my skin. Focus on my voice, she commands, her tone gentle. Obeying her words, I cling to the sound of her voice, allowing it to anchor me as the world around me dissolves into a haze of pain and disorientation. The stars above blur and spin, the trees swaying in a dizzying dance. Then just when I think I can bear no more, the agony content is copyright 2024 noveldrama.org. 23 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, 4. Reaches a crescendo, a blinding flash of white-hot anguish that steals my breath away. And in that moment, something within me shifts. Realizing what it is, I burst upright as soon as the pain begins to fade. I hold out my hands in excitement, holding out my hands. Fur. Claws. But no. I'm still me. Chipped coral nail polish, a burn on my right index finger from cooking, and skin that was once pale and has finally achieved a light golden hue from the sun. My shoulders slump. I didn't shift. Of course not. How can you shift when I'm not within you? Celine tilts her head at me curiously. Now dig. I stare at Celine in utter confusion. Dig? What do you mean, dig? Precisely what I said, she replies, her tone brooking no argument. Dig. I glance around the small clearing, taking in the soft carpet of moss and fallen leaves. With what? My hands. The mere thought of digging into the earth with my bare fingers fills me with a strange revulsion. Celine lets out a huff of annoyance. Yes, with your hands. I would do it myself, but... She pauses, eyeing the ground with distaste. I don't like to get mud between my claws. I can't help but snort at that. Are you sure you're not just a husky after all? Because that's a very husky-like attitude. In response, Celine snaps at the air, her jaws closing with an audible click. Enough stalling, she growls. Dig. With a sigh, I sink to my knees and begin to dig, scooping handfuls of damp earth aside. Celine. 14.40. 24 Ava Paranoia and Secrets, v. from noveldrama.org. Watches me intently, her tail swishing back and forth. Deeper, she urges after a few moments. I grimace as my fingers sink into the cool, loamy soil. This is so gross. You owe me a manicure after this. Celine merely flicks an ear, unimpressed by my complaints. As I continue to dig, my arms quickly grow tired from the exertion. Sweat beads on my brow, and I can feel the grime caking beneath my nails. Ugh. Finally, my fingers scrape against something hard and unyielding. I pause, brushing away the remaining soil to reveal a box. Keep going, Celine prompts. With a grunt, I manage to pry the box free from the earth. It's a simple wooden affair, unremarkable save for a strange symbol carved into the lid. I shoot Celine a questioning look, but she merely inclines her head toward the box. Taking a deep breath, I lift the lid. Inside, nestled amid a bed of soft fabric, is a ring. But not just any ring, the centerpiece is a large faceted 1446. 24 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, v. Crystal in a deep, vivid purple hue. It's almost identical to the one I currently have in my pocket. You'll need to wear them both, Celine says as if reading my thoughts. At all times. I frown, gingerly lifting the ring from its resting place. But why? What's so special about these crystals? Celine shakes her head. It's not yet time for you to know that. For now, you must simply trust me. Well, that's ominous, I mutter, but I obediently slip the ring onto my finger. An odd tingle dances across my skin as the two crystals are united. Good. Celine's tone is one of satisfaction. Now, let's get out of here before I have to groom myself for days to get all this filth out of my fur. I can't help but giggle at her disdainful expression as she eyes the mud clinging to her paws. Whatever you say, princess. I'll make sure to book you a grooming appointment first thing in the morning. With a huff, Celine turns and begins to lead the way back through the trees, leaving me to hurry after her. I eye Celine warily as we walk, the empty box tucked. 24 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, v. under my arm. So, are you going to explain what all that pain was about? And what did you mean by me becoming? Celine chuffs, twitching one ear in irritation. It means precisely what I said. You were becoming. I frown. Yeah, but becoming what exactly? Sometimes being cryptic is the best thing for everyone involved. Celine's tone is firm as she pads across the small clearing toward the park trail. Rolling my eyes, I hurry to catch up, leaves crunching underfoot. Well, it's not the best thing for me. I'm so confused right now. Celine doesn't reply, leaving me to stew in silence as we retrace our steps back toward the main path. It's only when we reach the trailhead that I realize something feels different. I pause, taking a deep breath. There's a lightness to my body that wasn't there before, a sense of renewed energy thrumming through my veins. The aches and pains from earlier have faded, leaving me feeling almost refreshed. Don't even think about it, Celine's voice cuts through. 1440. 24 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, v. My thoughts in a sharp warning. I blink, shooting her a perplexed look. Think about what? Running, she replies flatly. Unless you want the attention it will bring. Attention. I echo, baffled. What are you talking about? How would me running bring any attention? Celine shakes her head, clearly exasperated. It's better you don't find out. Not yet, at least. I open my mouth, ready to protest, but she silences me with a stern look. Gritting my teeth, I swallow back my questions and continue toward the parking lot in silence. I dreamt about getting my wolf. Never once had I dreamed I'd get a cryptic wolf who refuses to answer questions and pretends she's a husky in her free time. The entire walk back to my apartment, I can't shake the strange, restless energy buzzing beneath my skin. It's like every cell in my body is thrumming with newfound vigor, just waiting to be unleashed. Part of me, the curious, reckless part, wants nothing. 1446. 24 Ava Paranoia and Secrets, v. More than to take off at a sprint, to push my body to its limits and see what this strange feeling is all about. But Celine's warning holds me back. Attention is the last thing I want or need right now. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that my dog is apparently not a dog. By the time we reach my front door, I'm practically vibrating with pent-up energy. I shoot Celine a sidelong glance as I fumble for my keys. Are you at least going to tell me what's going on? Why I feel like this? Wait, she snaps, staring at the door and growling. I remember now. I didn't lock the door. I'd thought we would walk a few minutes at most. So stupid. I sniff, but I can't smell anything. While my sense of smell is better than a human's, it isn't as good as that of a dog, much less a wolf. We can enter, she says after some time, and I open the door with some hesitation. Nothing seems different. As I walk into the living room, a familiar, tantalizing scent hits my nose. I jerk my head around in panic, but no, he isn't here. 14.40. 24 Ava, Paranoia and Secrets, v. Celine. I can smell Lucas. Celine growls, pacing as she sniffs every corner of the room. Her hackles are stiff. Even though she's just a dog right now, it's still intimidating. That bastard was here, Celine confirms, after sniffing around the bedroom. He won't harm you. Her lip curls back into a soft snarl. I can smell his regret with every step he took. I collapse, my legs too weak to hold me up. That refreshed, revitalized feeling is gone. Only fear remains. What am I going to do? I can't stay here. If he found me, that means Dad can find me. Perhaps. Celine stretches with a large yawn. I would not worry yet, cub. You are not as defenseless as you once were, and you cannot run forever. But you cannot run forever, Celine repeats forcefully, and I fall silent, struggling against the panic fluttering against my ribcage. One day, you might have to fight. 14-46. 25 Ava, a familiar scent. Back. Fight back? I'd never imagined fighting back. How can a wolfless defect fight back? You are not wolfless, she reminds me, settling on the couch after a few circles. You are strong. You have me. We will not return to your pack. What will we do? I ask helplessly. Celine yawns again. Live, she says simply. Just as you have been. Do not borrow trouble before it finds you. I sigh and fall onto the couch cushions, trying to let Celine's words wash over me. Live. Just live. It sounds so simple when she says it like that. Celine lifts her head, those piercing blue eyes fixing me with an intense stare. You cannot keep going as you have been, though. Your body is soft. Weak. You must strengthen it. A frown tugs at my lips. What do you mean? She pushes my arm with her cold, wet nose. Exercise. 1446. 25 Ava, a familiar scont. Train your body as you would your mind. You cannot rely solely on me to protect you forever. I blink at her. I'm not completely soft. I've had to learn to run. But to Celine, I'm soft. I guess that makes sense. I'm nothing compared to shifters. She wants me to get fit. To toughen up, build muscle, increase my stamina. A tremor of trepidation runs through me, but I can't deny the logic in her words. If Todd or anyone from my pack comes for me again, I need to be able to defend myself. My only chance at true freedom is becoming strong enough to fight back if necessary. With a slow nod, I steel my resolve. Okay. What do I need to do? The next morning, I approach Mrs. Elkins with a request to leave work early 3 days a week. I spin a vague story about a class I've decided to take, not daring to reveal the real reason. Mrs. Elkins's brow furrows in concern, but she doesn't pry. Of course, dear. As long as you can have your work done before you leave, I don't mind at all. 1446. 25 Ava, a familiar scont. Relief washes over me. Thank you, Mrs. Elkins. I really appreciate your understanding. She gives me one of her warm, grandmotherly smiles. Not a problem, Ava. Just take care of yourself, all right? I force a smile in return, her kindness lancing through my chest. If only she knew. That evening, Celine leads me through a series of basic calisthenics in the privacy of my small living room, push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, 100 each. My muscles strain and burn with the unaccustomed exertion, but I grit my teeth and push through the discomfort. This becomes our new routine. 3 nights a week, after leaving work early, I meet with a self-defense instructor named Kyle that Celine somehow dug up. He's an older packless wolf, his lined face and calloused hands speaking of a hard life. But his pale blue eyes hold a kindness that puts me at ease from the start. To Kyle, Celine is just an ordinary husky tagging along with her owner. He doesn't seem to notice anything. 25 Ava, a familiar scent. A miss, which is probably for the best. I'm not sure I could explain the truth even if I wanted to. The training is grueling. Kyle runs me through basic strikes, blocks, grapples and takedowns, pushing me to my limits. I leave each session bruised, my body screaming in protest. But I persevere, following Celine's firm content protected by NOV/L/DRama.org. Encouragement. Because with each passing week, I can feel myself growing stronger. My endurance increasing, my movements becoming more fluid and precise. I'm toughening up, preparing myself for whatever challenges may still lie ahead. No longer will I be a helpless victim waiting for someone else to save me. A few nights a week, I come home to the scent of Lucas in my apartment, but I have yet to catch sight of him. I'm not sure how to feel about that, so I try not to think about it too much. I changed the locks, but he still makes it in. More shifters have been appearing in town, stopping by the novel grind. I can hear them talking about war between the Blackwood and Westwood packs. I want 25 Ava, a familiar scent. To know more, but I don't know how to dig up the information. It isn't like I can just check this sort of news on the internet. Werewolves tend to lie low with their pack information. I haven't heard any more talk about me though. I'm not sure what that means, and I'm too scared to find out. I should probably reach out to the pack alpha here, but I don't know how he feels about my family or my pack. I can't risk him wanting to hand me over. So I just live. Like Celine said. I go to my class. I work. At the novel grind. I train. I'm not at ease, though Celine doesn't seem too concerned. I can't help looking over my shoulder more often these days. But aside from Lucas' presence in my room, his scent all over my things, there's nothing different around me. Until now. I put on a fake smile, looking at the person in front of me like I don't recognize them. Hello. What would you like to order today? We are currently. Lucas. Her scent dances around me. Every breath I take fills my lungs with the sweet, honey and vanilla notes that have haunted my dreams since that fateful night at the Lunar Gala. Ava. Just the thought of her name sends a shiver down my spine. For weeks, I've been watching her from the shadows, unable to resist the pull of her presence. The need to be near her has consumed me, driving me to break into her apartment just to bask in the lingering traces of her essence. I'm a desperate man, lost in the throes of an obsession I can't explain nor control. As I stand before her now, my wolf howls with unbridled joy inside my head, reveling in her proximity. Part of me had hoped that the fact she didn't run when she realized I'd found her meant something more. An acknowledgement of the connection that binds us together. But as her gaze meets mine, devoid of any emotion, I, 20 Lucas, watching, feel the weight of disappointment settle heavily in my chest. She regards me with the same polite indifference she would show any other customer, and the realization stings like a slap to the face. Leaning over the counter, I can't help but ask, "How have you been? Are you okay?" The words tumble out, laced with concern and a hint of desperation that I can't quite mask. For a fleeting moment, I see her falter, a crack in her impassive facade. But it's gone as quickly as it appeared, and she meets my gaze with a cool detachment that cuts deeper than any blade. "I'm sorry, sir, but I need you to order or step aside for the other customers." Her voice is clipped, professional, devoid of any warmth or recognition. It's as if our shared moment in the garden never happened, as if the connection that ignited between us was nothing more than a fleeting fantasy. I want to protest, to demand that she acknowledges the bond that ties us together. But the words stick in my throat as I remember the look on her face. Right. 26 Lucas, watching. Before she turned and ran. All I can do is nod mutely and order something random off the menu. When I give her my card, our fingertips brush together, and the spark of our connection floods through me. My wolf yips and whines. My mate, he howls, and I can only apologize to him again. It's my fault that our mate isn't in our arms, after all. I watch Ava as she glides behind the counter. Every movement she makes is fluid, almost hypnotic, drawing my gaze. The gentle sway of her hips as she leans over to grab a mug, the way her delicate fingers curl around it, it's all I can do to tear my eyes away, even for a moment. A pang of jealousy twists in my gut as her co-worker approaches her, an easy grin plastered across his face. My wolf snarls within me, hackles raised as he watches the exchange, bristling at the familiarity between them. That asshole leans in, whispering something that makes Ava's lips quirk upwards in a smile that should be reserved for me alone. The urge to storm over there and rip him away from her is overwhelming, my fists clenching at my sides as content protected by NOV/L.D. Rama.org. 1447. 26 Lucas, watching. I imagine the satisfying crunch of his nose breaking beneath my knuckles. It would be so easy, so deliciously satisfying to put him in his place and remind him that Ava is mine. But I force myself to remain still, my nails digging crescents into my palms as I wrestle with the animalistic impulses raging within me. I can't afford to do anything that might jeopardize what little chance I have of winning her over. One wrong move, one slip of control, and I could lose her forever. So I watch and I wait, and I seethe in silence as Carlos throws his head back with a laugh, basking in the warmth of Ava's attention. Every fiber of my being screams at me to intervene, to stake my claim and remind her of the bond we share, no matter how tenuous it might seem at the moment. But her eyes never turn towards me, not even for a fleeting second. It's as if I'm invisible to her, a ghost haunting the periphery of her world, unable to break through the barrier she's erected around herself. After a couple hours of staring at the woman I want more than anything, an older woman approaches me with a warm smile, her eyes crinkling at the corners in 1447. 26 Lucas, watching. Away. That speaks of a lifetime spent laughing. Good morning, she greets me cheerfully. Can I get you anything else? I shake my head, offering her a polite smile in return. No, thank you. I'm all set. She nods, but doesn't move to leave, her gaze drifting over to where Ava is chatting with a dickhead behind the counter. There's a knowing look in her eyes as she regards me, one that makes me shift uncomfortably in my seat. You know our Ava, don't you? She asks, her tone casual but laced with a hint of protectiveness. I sigh, running a hand through my hair as I contemplate how to respond. Part of me wants to deny any knowledge of her, knowing she's probably told these people nothing. But there's something about the woman's gentle demeanor that compels me to be honest. Yes, I know her, I admit quietly. But I'm afraid I've done something terrible to her, and I'm not sure how to make it right. Her gray eyebrows rise, but she doesn't press me for 26 Lucas, watching. Details. Instead, she pulls out the chair across from me and settles into it, her expression one of patient understanding. Well, the first step is recognizing that you've made a mistake, she says sagely. That's more than a lot of people can manage. I bark out a humorless laugh, shaking my head ruefully. Trust me, it was more than just a mistake. I trail off, swallowing hard as the memories of that night come flooding back. The way Ava had looked at me with such hurt and betrayal in her eyes. The scent of her tears mingling with the sweet honey and vanilla that clings to her skin. The anguished howls of my wolf as our mate fled from us, leaving us both bereft and hollow. Knowing what I know now, my soul shrivels even more. She must have looked at me as salvation, and I'd betrayed her hopes. It's little wonder she wants nothing to do with me. I hurt her, I finally managed to choke out, my voice thick with self-loathing. Badly. And I don't know how to make it right. 26 Lucas. Watching. She regards me with a thoughtful expression, her fingers steepled beneath her chin as she considers my words. Finally, she leans forward, her voice lowered to a conspiratorial murmur. Have you tried apologizing? She asks gently. I blink at her, thrown by the simplicity of her suggestion. Apologize. I repeat, flummoxed. It occurs to me that I've never said those words to her. Granted, I haven't spoken to her at all until just now, but how can it be that the first words out of my mouth weren't "I'm sorry, I was such an asshole"? She nods, her gaze unwavering. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is admit our mistakes and ask for forgiveness. It's not easy, mind you, she adds with a wry smile. But if you truly regret what happened and want to make amends, it's the first step. You're right, I murmur, more to myself than to her. I need to apologize. To tell her how sorry I am for the way I treated her. The old woman nods, reaching across the table to pat my hand gently. I can't promise that it will be easy or 1447. 26 Lucas watching. That she'll accept your apology right away, she cautions. But it's a start. I grip her hand tightly, feeling a surge of gratitude towards this kind-hearted woman. Thank you, I say, genuine in my gratitude. Somehow, she'd shed light on such a simple oversight. I've apologized to Ava a million times in my heart, but how would Ava know that? Of course she doesn't know. She smiles at me, her eyes shining with a warmth that reminds me of my own mother's gaze. I have a feeling that if you approach her with an open heart and true remorse, she'll surprise you, she says softly. Our Ava is one of the kindest, most forgiving souls I've ever known. With a gentle squeeze of my hand, she rises from her chair and moves to greet another customer. My gaze drifts back to Ava, drinking in the sight of her. Apologize. Such a simple concept. It's only the first step, but I'll take thousands of steps until she finally turns and calls my name. She's worth everything. I step into my apartment, muscles aching from another grueling self-defense session with Kyle. Despite the pain, I can feel myself getting stronger. A heavy sigh escapes my lips as I kick off my shoes, relishing the feeling of being home, safe within these walls. Celine's thoughts brush against my consciousness, a comforting feeling after an awful day, as she pads over to the couch to take a nap. You did well today. You're progressing rapidly, as I knew you would. I nod, offering a weary smile. Thanks. I feel like a truck hit me, but in a good way, you know. A low chuckle reverberates through our bond. Rest my human. You've earned it. Peeling off my sweat-drenched clothes, I make my way to the bathroom, the promise of a hot shower. beckoning me. As the water cascades over my aching muscles, I allow my mind to drift, replaying the events of the day. 27 Ava watched. And inevitably, my thoughts turn to him. Lucas. Just the mere thought of his name sends a shiver down my spine, a heady mixture of longing and resentment coiling deep within me. I can still see the intensity in his golden eyes, the way his gaze seemed to strip me bare. Unbidden, my body responds to the memory, a traitorous flush creeping up my neck as desire unfurls in my core. I curse inwardly, hating the way he still has this effect on me, even after everything that transpired between us. Celine's disapproval washes over me, a cool balm against the raging inferno of my emotions. He threw you away like trash, she growls. It does him no good to come around now, begging for forgiveness. I wince, her blunt assessment striking a chord deep within me. She's right, of course. Lucas had his chance, and he squandered it, crushing my heart beneath the heel of his contempt. The pain of that rejection still lingers, a raw, festering wound that refuses to heal. The ache will never go away. Stupid fated mates. 27 Ava watched. Bullshit. I know, I murmur, rinsing the shampoo from my hair. Believe me, I haven't forgotten. And yet, a treacherous part of me yearns for his touch, his embrace, his acceptance. Celine's presence ebbs and flows. Do not let him in just because the bond tries to call you, she finally says. You are worth more than the demands of a bond. With a deep breath, I push him from my mind. He hasn't done anything to me in weeks, if you don't count breaking into my apartment when I'm not home. Even at work, he'd stepped aside as soon as I brushed him away. So far, he isn't dangerous. Well, not that kind of dangerous. My heart, though. That, I need to guard carefully. The next week passes in an odd manner. Every morning, there's a note on my apartment door. It only says, I'm so sorry, with Lucas' signature at the bottom. 27 Ava watched. I see him around lunch every day at work. He orders something different each time. Every time I take his card, he looks me in the eyes and says, I'm sorry. I don't need you to answer me, I just need you to know property of no, vel dr, a ma org. That I mean it. And then he takes his coffee and leaves. He doesn't sit there watching me for hours, like the first day. It's bizarre. Celine grumbles in the back of my head every time she sees him. I'm grateful that Lucas has yet to realize she's anything more than dog. Every night, there's a warm dinner waiting for me at home. Granted, he's broken in to leave it on my table. But it's free dinner. I'm not going to complain if that's all he's doing. Clearly I can't keep him out anyway. There was even a new bag of dog food the first time I came home to dinner, though Celine announced that she was not eating out of that bag under any circumstances. 14.47 AFD. 27 Ava watched. I donated it to the animal shelter. I can't lie, there's a part of my heart that wavers, just a little. But a week of cute little notes and simple apologies and the occasional meal aren't enough to make up for what he did, so I just ignore it all. It isn't until I hear a shifter muttering to his friend about how the Westwood Alpha has been spending a lot of time in the Aspen Pack territory that I realize there's a real problem with what Lucas is doing. I wonder if the Aspen Pack Alpha knows that Lucas is here. Clearly, he's unsettling the shifters. With the complaints about tensions between Westwood and Blackwood, it makes no sense that he's still here. I wait for Lucas to show up at lunch, tapping my pen restlessly against the counter. The cafe is fairly empty today, just a few regulars tucked into their usual corners. Mrs. Elkins shoots me a questioning look from the kitchen, but I just shrug, feigning nonchalance. 12:30 comes and goes without any sign of him. Celine snorts in the back of my mind. You shouldn't be. 27 Ava watched. Worried about that arrogant alpha. Focus on yourself. Little one. I frown, refilling a customer's coffee mug. I'm not worried about him, Peresi. It's just... An image of snarling wolves flashes through my mind, claws and fangs bared. The memory of screams and the coppery scent of blood assaults my senses. I shudder, pushing the vision away. Don't embroil yourself in pack politics, Ava, Celine chides. But what if a war erupts because of me? I protest, gripping the counter until my knuckles turn white. I can't have that on my conscience. Celine is silent for a long moment. That isn't your responsibility. Alphas make their own decisions. Lucas will either return for his alpha duties or not. That isn't on you, but him, he wouldn't have to be here if he had done the right thing in the first place. I open my mouth to argue, but she cuts me off. No, little one. Listen to me. You have finally found a semblance of peace and freedom here. Focus on that. I'm walking to the bus stop after my evening class, my mind still focused on the lecture. The streetlights flicker overhead, casting long shadows that seem to shift and dance in the corners of my vision. An uneasy feeling prickles at the back of my neck, but I push it aside, chalking it up to my overactive imagination. Then, without warning, a searing pain explodes at the base of my skull. A strangled yell tears from my throat as my knees buckle, and I crumple to the pavement. Spots dance before my eyes, and for a disorienting moment, the world tilts on its axis.
Ava, listen to me.
Celine's frantic voice cuts through the haze of agony.
Get up. You have to run.
A rough hand grips my arm, hauling me upright with a savage jerk. The potent scent of shifter slams into me, musky, feral, and utterly alien. My heart stutters in my chest as a car screeches to a halt beside us.
Fight, Ava. Fight.
Celine's command echoes through my mind, her urgency lending me a burst of adrenaline-fueled strength.
28 AVT, Omega? 1.
I thrash against my assailant's hold, kicking and clawing with everything I have. A guttural snarl rumbles in my ear as he wrestles me toward the waiting vehicle. My nails find purchase, scoring deep gouges along his cheek, but he doesn't relent. The back seat door flies open, and I'm shoved inside with brutal force. My head cracks against the opposite window, and stars explode across my vision. Rough hands pin me down, the weight of a body trapping me against the cracked leather seats.
Get off me.
I scream, bucking wildly.
Let me go.
Hot, rancid breath washes over my face as my assailant leans in close, his features twisted into a savage leer. Calm down, little wolf, he growls, his voice a deep, grating rasp.
You'll be fine.
We'll be mating you soon. Bile rises in my throat as he buries his face in the crook of my neck, inhaling deeply. Revulsion churns in my gut, and I renew my struggles with frantic desperation. Property of no, vel dr, a ma org. She's unmated, all right, he pants, his words muffled against my skin. A rogue wolf, free for the taking.
28 Ava Omega? 1.
What are you doing, walking alone at night? Waiting for us to take you. Of course she was, the driver says, and I can hear the leer in his voice. I thrash and buck beneath the weight of my assailant, my heart thundering in my ears. Every ounce of my training screams at me to fight, to claw and bite and scratch until I'm free, but he's just too strong. His bulk pins me down, rendering my struggles futile. Celine whimpers in the back of my mind.
I'm coming. Ava. Hold on. I'll be okay.
I'm unsure if Celine can even hear my thoughts over the roaring panic in my head. I'll survive until I can get away. Just get to me as fast as you can. The driver lets out a guttural groan, his eyes flicking to the rearview mirror.
Can you smell that?
She's about to go into heat. He drags in a deep breath, his nostrils flaring. Goddamn, that scent is driving me crazy. I fucking knew she wasn't human. I told you, didn't I?
Heat?
That doesn't make sense.
Female shifters don't
go into heat until they're mated. At least, that's what I was told.
28 Ava, Omega? 1.
Since I ran away, I'm learning that my pack education might not be that great, honestly. In White Peak, it was rare to see a shifter among humans.
Here, well,
Cedarwood didn't have many before, but lately they're everywhere, and they fit in just fine. Something Alpha Renard always said was impossible. I can feel the man's slimy tongue licking along the crescent at my neck, causing it to burn. The urge to vomit is strong, and I jerk my head away, only for his teeth to bite into me in punishment. Stupid shifters. They have to be rogues, they smell wrong. Wild. And they're so fucking horny they'd abduct a potential mate right off the street. Though, Todd wasn't any better. Being in a pack doesn't mean you're a civilized shifter, either. I cringe as unwanted memories crowd my brain. I don't want to go through that again.
Or worse.
I try to formulate a plan, my mind racing even as the brute on top of me nuzzles the crook of my neck with disturbing tenderness.
Play dead?
No, they'd never let their guard down.
Scream?
The driver seems just as unhinged as my captor. He'd probably join in on the fun.
28 Ava, Omega? 1.
My only hope is to wait for an opportunity, to bide my time until they make a mistake. I force my body to go limp, feigning defeat as a whimper escapes my lips. The man chuckles darkly, mistaking my deception for fear as he noses along my jaw. That's it, little wolf, he rumbles, his hot breath fanning over my skin. Just relax and let it happen. You'll enjoy it soon enough. Submit to your alphas.
Alpha? Please.
They're not even betas. I guess rogue wolves get a little delusional. I swallow back a wave of nausea, fighting to keep my expression blank even as his calloused hands roam over my body in a mockery of a lover's caress. Rage simmers beneath my skin, scorching through my veins with every touch, but I can't let it show.
Not yet. Just hold on, Ava. I'm coming.
His fingers tangle in my hair, yanking my head back to expose the long column of my throat. I let out a whimper, praying it sounds convincing as his lips touch my crescent scar again. I can smell her so strongly right here, he growls, licking at it again. Fire burns, almost as if my scar is rejecting his touch.
28 Ava, Omega? 1.
Are you calm now, little mate? I nod frantically, praying he believes that I've been sufficiently subdued by his alpha aura.
I'm calm. I'm sorry. I won't fight.
Of course you won't, he croons, and I can see the wild in his eyes. Celine, these guys are weird. Is this what feral wolves are like? The silence in my head has me unnerved, even as the shifter's painful grip eases into something like a lover's embrace. Both of them talk to me every so often, telling me how wonderful our lives are going to be, and how we're going to create our own pack. My skin crawls as my kidnapper nuzzles against me, and my brain blanks whenever he kisses me. All I can taste is stale cigarettes, but I lay limp, waiting for my chance. They've already let their guard down. If I can keep this
up, Celine?
I ask urgently, but it's still quiet. Warning, sensitive content. There's a luxury I've indulged in since I left my pack.
The news.
I wasn't allowed to watch it at home because of its
human bias.
One thing I learned in the news is that sexual assault from shifters happens at least twice as often as it does from humans, and that's only what's reported in the human community. It's estimated that assault within the shifter community is much higher. Theories run rampant, but there's one that feels authentic to me. It talks about the bestial temperament of wolf shifters, and how their innate need to breed like wild animals gets the best of them. This is why we often have fights between males over women, even with a fated connection in place. It's something I don't think about too much, because it was just a part of my life when I lived in a shifter pack.
1450.
Now that I live among humans, I can see how different the relationship is between humans, compared to how it is in our packs. I see why they are kept so separate. And as someone in this kind of situation again, I'm inclined to think that humans are a hell of a lot smarter than shifters. Stare over my kidnapper's shoulder, looking through the window. We're no longer in the city. Towering trees flank both sides of the winding road. I swallow hard, my throat constricting around the lump of panic that threatens to choke me. Celine's silence has me anxious, worried that I'll be alone when I have to fight for my freedom. Forcing my gaze away from the window, I study the shifter in the front seat. They're talking again, their gruff voices blending together in a low rumble as they discuss something. I tune out their words, focusing instead on trying not to vomit. Fucking shifters. A tremor runs through me, and I clench my fists to still the trembling of my hands. I can't afford to show weakness. 29 Ava, Omega? 2. Now that I live among humans, I can see how different the relationship is between humans, compared to how it is in our packs. I see why they are kept so separate. And as someone in this kind of situation again, I'm inclined to think that humans are a hell of a lot smarter than shifters. I stare over my kidnapper's shoulder, looking through the window. We're no longer in the city. Towering trees flank both sides of the winding road. I swallow hard, my throat constricting around the lump of panic that threatens to choke me. Celine's silence has me anxious, worried that I'll be alone when I have to fight for my freedom. Forcing my gaze away from the window, I study the shifter in the front seat. They're talking again, their gruff voices blending together in a low rumble as they discuss something. I tune out their words, focusing instead on trying not to vomit. Fucking shifters. A tremor runs through me, and I clench my fists to still the trembling of my hands. I can't afford to show weakness. 1450. 29 Ava, Omega? 2. The car takes a sharp turn, and I'm forced even farther into the embrace of the one holding me. I let go of my fists to dig my nails into the worn leather of the seat I'm lying on, my legs bent awkwardly against the other door. They're going to be on edge when they bring me out of the car, so I'll have to play nicely until I can get on my feet. But I can't go into any building they drag me to, it'll be even harder to escape then. My mind races, desperate for a plan, for any sliver of hope that I might make it out of this. I don't even want my fated mate, much less these assholes. We'll be there soon, little mate. Again with the sniffing and snuffling at my scar, as he rubs and grunts against me. Fuck, you feel good. You going to be able to take us both, little Omega? I think you can. Your smell says you can. That makes no fucking sense at all, but I can't even talk back. I just groan beneath the weight of his body, constricting my lungs. He must think I'm making a sexy response, though, because his breathing quickens and he rubs harder against me, his arousal unmistakable in his jeans. 29 Ava,
Omega? 2.
I grip his hips in my hands and try to push him off, but it only seems to excite him further. Please, I murmur, staring up at him with what I hope are innocent eyes. I can barely breathe. You're such a tiny little thing, he groans, and my attempt backfires as he yanks my legs apart and wraps them around his waist. She's so hot and wet, he says to the driver. I'm not, but apparently this excites the other one, who's,
oh my God. Is he? Yes. He is.
That rapid shaking of his arm is unmistakable as his moans fill the car too. If you don't stop, you're going to have to switch places with me, he growls. It isn't fair that you get to play with her while I drive. You can always pull over. I don't think I can wait until we get there anyway, his hands at his waistband.
1450. 29 Ava, Omega? 11.
Now, and I start to panic. Wait. I grab his wrist in a panic, trying desperately to think of something, anything, that would get through their horny skulls. If you do it out here, my scent will be everywhere. Do you really want someone barging in on us in the middle of it? For an excuse, it's pretty flimsy, but the feral look in his fades slightly. His hand cups my cheek as he croons, what a smart girl our little maid is.
You're right.
We'd have to kill anyone who smells you. He slides his other hand up my shirt, easily breaking my grasp. I can feel him cupping my breast through my bra. We'll just have to have our fun while Derek drives. Won't we? I get carsick, I say, frantic now. I don't want to ruin.
For fuck's sake, Jeremy. It's her first time.
Don't be a fucking retard. Derek grunts and groans, his arm moving even faster. Bring her up here and let me finish in her mouth.
God, no. Please, no.
Who's the retard? Jeremy growls.
Pay attention to. 1450. 29 Ava, Omega? 2.
The fucking road before we get in an accident. Yes, there we go. Have some brains, Jeremy. Just get her ass up here. Jeremy snarls at his partner, and I have the brief hope that they're going to get into a tussle. Instead, Jeremy kisses me again, a bruising kiss with a tongue that slams into my mouth like a slimy jackhammer, before he yanks me forward and shoves me across the center console. Derek's dick is there in front of my face, angry purple and disgusting, pumped furiously by a hand that seems to be gripping it way too hard. Won't that thing just pop off with that kind of strength? Property copyright of noveldrama.org.
Alas, it doesn't.
Celine, I really hope you're about to make this car crash, I snap into the darkness of my head. I can't, I whine, trying to sound as pathetic as possible. I feel so sick. I'm going to throw up. Derek grabs my hair at the back of my head, and in that moment something slams into us, turning reality sideways.
1450.
I groan as searing pain lances through my ribs, fairly certain that at least a few are broken from the impact. Gasping for air, I blink through the haze of confusion, trying to make sense of the chaos surrounding me. Derek is slumped over the steering wheel, a grotesque trickle of blood oozing from his hairline. In the back seat, Jeremy lies crumpled in a disturbing bloody mess, unmoving and alarmingly still. For one hysterical second, I muse that this is precisely why seatbelts exist. Should have worn a seatbelt, Jeremy. I grit my teeth against a wave of pain as I claw my way into the passenger seat. My shaking hands fumble with the door handle, but the door remains stubbornly jammed. Peering through the cracked windshield, I realize this side of the car has collided with a tree. A few inches of trunk are all that's blocking my door from opening. Adrenaline courses through my veins as I muster what little strength remains and kick the door with everything I have. Before I can kick again the door.
1451. 30 Ava, Omega?
I
flies off.
I don't stop to question my luck. As I tumble out of the wrecked vehicle, gasping for fresh air, a strong hand suddenly grips my arm, yanking me upright. I whirl around, my heart pounding, only to find myself face to face with a stranger, a tall, imposing man with chestnut hair and piercing green eyes. His gaze sweeps over me, assessing, before he speaks in a deep, authoritative tone. Are you injured? I sway into him, my battered body screaming in protest as I fight to remain upright. A dizzying wave of nausea washes over me, and I squeeze my eyes shut, willing the world to stop spinning. That's when the scent hits me, ocean fresh, with a woodsy scent lingering just beneath, along with something that can only belong to one of my kind.
A shifter.
My eyes fly open, locking onto the stranger's intense gaze, and I instinctively flinch away from him.
A mistake.
My legs buckle beneath me, and I brace myself for the unforgiving impact of the ground. But instead of hitting the hard earth, I find myself enveloped in a
1451. 30 Ava, Omega? 3.
Strong embrace, cradled against a broad chest. The stranger, no, the shifter, has swept me into his arms with an ease that belies his impressive stature. I tense, every fiber of my being screaming at me to fight, to flee, but I'm utterly powerless against his hold. His chiseled features are set in a grim line as he studies me intently. "Are you injured?" he rumbles, his deep voice laced with concern.
My
I open my mouth to respond, but the words catch in
throat.
the events of the past few hours have left me reeling, and I can't seem to find my voice amidst
The chaos.
He frowns, his brow furrowing as he takes in my silence. "We need to get you to safety," he declares, his tone brooking no argument. Panic seizes me, and I struggle feebly against his iron grip. I can't go with him. But my efforts are futile. He merely tightens his hold, cradling me closer to his chest as if I weigh no more than a child. "Easy now," he murmurs, his voice low and soothing.
30 Ava, Omega? 3.
"I'm not going to hurt you. Rowan, take care of the rogues," he orders over his shoulder as he strides away from the scene of the accident, carrying me with ease. I struggle against the waves of pain crashing over me.
Who are you?
I rasp out, my voice hoarse.
What's going on?
His green eyes find mine, calm yet intense. "I am Alpha Clayton Shadowpine of the Aspen Pack."
And you are?
I hesitate, unsure if I should give my real name. I feel safe for the immediate moment, but I know my future is now even more uncertain. Celine remains silent in my mind.
Ava, I finally say.
"Well, Ava, you're safe now." His tone leaves no room for argument as he continues walking, heading deeper into the trees. "Those rogues won't be a problem anymore." I shiver, the adrenaline ebbing and leaving me chilled in the crisp evening air.
Are you cold? The Alpha asks.
"No, just dash." I shudder as another tremor racks through me, my teeth chattering uncontrollably.
1451. 30 Ava, Omega? 3.
Clayton tightens his hold, pulling me closer against his solid frame as we approach a sleek black SUV. His presence is both comforting and unsettling, a paradox that leaves me reeling. Part of me wants to burrow deeper into his warmth, to soak in the reassurance of his strength, to lean on an alpha. It's been so long since I've been in a pack, and I guess somewhere deep inside, something's been craving it. Content is copyright 2024 noveldrama.org. Another part remains wary, a voice in the back of my mind whispering that I can trust no one, especially not
another shifter.
He shifts me effortlessly in his arms, freeing one hand to retrieve a set of keys from his pocket. With a deft flick of his wrist, he unlocks the SUV, and the rear door swings open silently. "Here, let me get you inside where it's warm," he murmurs, his deep voice a low rumble that vibrates against my cheek. I tense as he moves to deposit me in the back seat, my fingers instinctively curling into the fabric of his shirt. A strangled noise escapes my throat, a silent plea for 14 hours 61 minutes.
30 Ava, Omega? 3.
Him to wait, to give me a moment longer before he pulls away. Clayton pauses, his sharp gaze assessing me with a penetrating intensity that leaves me feeling stripped bare. His nostrils flare ever so slightly, and I know he's scenting me, picking up the nuances of my fear and uncertainty. "You're safe, Ava," he says, his voice a gentle rumble. "I won't let anyone hurt you." I swallow hard, forcing myself to loosen my grip on his shirt. Slowly, carefully, he lowers me onto the plush leather seat, his movements measured and controlled. As soon as I'm settled, he shrugs off his jacket and drapes it over me like a blanket, cocooning me in its warmth and the lingering traces of his woodsy scent. "Thank you," I whisper, clutching the jacket tighter around me. It's a small comfort, but one I cling to nonetheless. Clayton gives a solemn nod, his expression inscrutable. "We'll get you looked at by our healers," he says, his tone leaving no room for argument. "And then we can figure out what to do next."
30 Ava, Omega? 3.
A flicker of unease stirs within me at his words. What does he mean by "figure out what to do next"? Is he implying that I'll be staying with his pack?
The thought is terrifying.
Before I can voice my concerns, the sound of approaching footsteps draws my attention. I tense instinctively, my heart rate spiking as a tall, lean figure emerges from the shadows.
Comment 2. View all. A.
Leave the first comment for this chapter. It's a man, no, a shifter, with a mane of auburn hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. His sharp features are softened by warm amber eyes that crinkle at the corners as he offers Clayton a respectful nod. "The rogues have been taken care of," he says, his tone clipped and professional. "The authorities have been alerted, and our people are cleaning up the scene." Noveled, Ram, A.org owns this content. Clayton returns the nod, his expression grim.
Good work, Rowan.
"This is Ava, she was the target." I study the newcomer with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. His nostrils flare as he takes in my scent, and his eyes widen almost imperceptibly. Before I can react, he takes an impulsive step forward, his gaze locked on me with an intensity that makes my breath catch in my throat. Alarm bells blare in my mind, every instinct screaming at me to flee. But then Clayton moves swiftly, placing himself between Rowan and me in one fluid motion. He extends an arm, effectively halting Rowan's advance with a subtle shake of his head.
31 Ava, Omega, 4.
Rowan freezes, his eyes fluttering shut as he draws in a deep, steadying breath. When he opens them again, a flicker of shame crosses his features, and he dips his head in a silent apology. My apologies, Ava, he murmurs, his voice strained. It isn't often we run into a true Omega entering heat. My brow furrows in confusion as I glance between the two shifters.
A true Omega?
I echo uncertainly. I've seen many Omegas enter heat. It doesn't seem rare. Clayton shifts his stance, angling himself towards me as he studies me with a contemplative frown. There are Omegas by birth and Omegas by rank, he explains, his deep voice measured and even. Omegas by birth are rare, and their heat can affect any male in their radius. They're the only ones whose heat can influence the rationality of betas and higher ranks. My eyes widen as understanding dawns. So that's why Rowan reacted the way he did, because I'm supposedly this true Omega they speak of. A shiver runs down my spine as the implications sink in. If my heat can affect even the most disciplined of shifters, then I'm in far more danger than I'd initially thought.
Less than 31 Ava, Omega, 4.
Clayton's piercing gaze holds mine, his expression unreadable. Is your mother an Omega, Ava? I tense at the question, my jaw clenching instinctively. Memories of my family surge to the surface, bitter and unwanted. I can't bring myself to answer, to reveal any part of that life I've fought so hard to leave behind. An uncomfortable silence stretches between us, thick with unspoken questions and lingering tension. Finally, Clayton gives a slight nod, as if accepting my reticence.
For now.
Very well, he says, his tone neutral. We'll get you settled, and you can tell us what you're comfortable with when you're ready. He turns to Rowan, his expression hardening ever so slightly.
Keep your distance for now.
I'll have one of the healers take a
look at her.
Rowan bobs his head in a terse nod, his amber eyes flickering towards me with a mixture of remorse and something else, something I can't quite place. Of course, Alpha, he murmurs, taking a measured step back. My heart pounds in my ears as the weight of the
31 Ava, Omega, 4.
situation presses down on me. I'm in the company of not just one, but two powerful shifters, an Alpha and his Beta, no less. And if what they're saying is true, if I really am this true Omega they speak of, then I'm in a far more precarious position than I'd ever imagined. Where the fuck is Celine when I need her? Celine, where the fuck are you? A tremor racks through me, and I clutch Clayton's jacket tighter around my shoulders, seeking the meager comfort it provides. I want to go back home. I want to be in my apartment, far away from so many shifters. From the Alpha of this region. So much for my plans of hiding among humans. My heart still thunders as I shiver uncontrollably. I draw in a shaky breath, smelling the ocean and pines once again, Clayton's scent. Oddly enough, it helps calm my frayed nerves. I shift in my seat, wincing as the movement aggravates the aches and bruises littering my body. Clayton's imposing figure catches my eye as he stands guard outside the vehicle.
His broad shoulders are 31 Ava, Omega, 4.
Squared, his stance unwavering, every inch the powerful Alpha he is. Yet there's a quiet strength about him, a sense of steady reassurance that radiates from his very presence. Despite my fear for my future, I can't deny the feeling of safety that surrounds me in his presence. It's a foreign sensation, one I haven't experienced much.
Not since.
I shake my head, grimacing as thoughts of Lucas intrude even now. It must be an Alpha thing. Though I never felt anything resembling security with Alpha Renard.
Fear, maybe.
Rowan is back, nodding to Clayton, then to me. As if sensing my trepidation at the man's approach, Clayton shifts his stance, angling his body towards me ever so slightly. It's a subtle movement, but one that speaks volumes, a silent reassurance that he's there watching.
Over me.
Rowan stands at a respectful distance, his amber eyes trained on me with an intensity that's almost unsettling. We've secured accommodations for you, he says his.
Less than 31 Ava, Omega, 4.
Tone brisk and professional. One of our healers will tend to your injuries and ensure you're comfortable. I nod mutely, unsure of what to say. My gaze drifts back to Clayton, and a pang of uncertainty twists in my gut. I'm grateful for their assistance, truly, but a part of me can't help but wonder what their endgame is. What do they want from me, this supposed true Omega? Rowan must sense my hesitation, for he takes a tentative step forward, his expression softening ever so slightly. "You're safe here, Ava," he murmurs, his voice low and soothing.
"We won't let any harm come. To you I promise."
His words should reassure me, but instead, they send a shiver down my spine. What if they find out my real identity?
How about then?
I study the large, imposing building as we approach, my brow furrowing slightly. The sleek, modern architecture is striking, but it's the logo that catches my eye, a stylized wolf's head, rendered in shades of gray. "This is one of our PAC's facilities," Clayton explains, no doubt noticing my curiosity.
A hospital of sorts.
A hospital run by shifters? The concept is as unsettling as it is intriguing. I can't help but wonder what sort of medical practices they employ here, how different they might be from human hospitals. Belongs to copyright N0Veldrama.org. Clayton ushers me through the ambulance bay, and I can't resist glancing around, taking in the flurry of activity. Nurses and orderlies bustle about, their movements crisp and efficient. For a moment, it all seems so normal. Like any other hospital. But then I catch a glimpse of a patient being wheeled by on a gurney, and I suck in a sharp breath. His face is twisted in agony, body contorting unnaturally, no doubt the result of an uncontrolled shift.
A Stark. 1432 Ava, Omega, V.
Reminder that this place is anything but ordinary. We step into an elevator, and Clayton punches the button for one of the upper floors. As the doors slide shut, I find myself keeping close to him, seeking reassurance in his steady presence. It's like an aura around him that keeps me calm. The ride is mercifully brief, and soon we're stepping out onto a hushed hallway, our footfalls clacking away on the tile, echoing around us. Clayton leads me to a private room, the door ajar. "You'll be comfortable here," he says, his deep voice a low rumble. "One of our nurses will be in shortly to check on you."
Thank you.
I slip into the room, sinking gratefully onto the edge of the neatly made bed. Clayton leaves once I'm settled, and it's as if I'm drained the moment.
He walks away.
The room is Spartan and sterile, but it has a large window that faces the mountains. The soft click of the door opening pulls me from my observation, and I turn to see a young woman in scrubs entering the room, a clipboard in hand.
She. 1451. 32 Ava, Omega, V.
Offers me a warm, reassuring smile as she approaches.
"Good evening, Ava," she says, her voice gentle. "I'm Nurse Jenna.
"I'll be taking care of you tonight." I manage a small nod in return, suddenly self-conscious under her attentive gaze. She begins checking my vitals, her movements deft and practiced, and I can't help but marvel at how normal it all feels. Almost like being in a human hospital.
Almost.
"How are you feeling?" Jenna asks, her brow creasing ever so slightly as she takes note of my various cuts and bruises.
Any dizziness? Nausea?
I shake my head, finding my voice. "Just sore," I murmur, flexing my fingers gingerly. "And tired."
And cold.
Jenna nods, making a note on her clipboard. "That's to be expected after what you've been through," she says, her tone sympathetic. "We'll get you something for the pain, and you can rest."
Rest.
The word is tantalizing. "Let me finish a few more questions, dear."
How old are? 1452. 32 Ava, Omega, V.
You. I blink at Jenna's question, feeling a flicker of uncertainty. "My age?"
I'm 20.
She makes a note, her pen scratching across the paper. "And how many cycles have you experienced so far?"
Cycles?
I blink at her. Jenna looks up, her gaze appraising. There's a hint of surprise in her expression, but she schools her features quickly.
Heat cycles?
When a female shifter goes into heat, when she becomes fertile and experiences an increased drive to mate.
Oh.
Realization dawns, heat creeping up my neck.
Of course.
That's what she's asking about. For a second, I forgot that I was at a shifter hospital. I shift uncomfortably on the bed, acutely aware of the dull aches all over my body.
This is my first time. Your first heat.
Jenna's brows lift, but she doesn't seem scandalized, just curious.
Professional. I see.
And have you noticed any changes in your body or?
1462. 32 Ava, Omega, V.
Behavior recently? Increased sexual desire? I shake my head.
No, nothing like that.
I feel normal. Jenna makes another note on her clipboard. Interesting, she murmurs, more to herself than to me. We'll have to monitor you closely then. It's rare, but some omegas can experience delayed or irregular cycles, especially if they've been
suppressed. Suppressed?
The word niggles at the back of my mind. But I don't have a chance to ask about it before Jenna is rising to her feet, all business once more. For now, rest up, she instructs, offering me a reassuring smile. We'll keep you comfortable here until your heat passes safely. Don't hesitate to let one of the nurses know if you need anything at all. I nod mutely, watching as she slips from the room, the door clicking shut behind her. Alone once more, I let out a slow breath, sinking back against the pillows.
My first heat.
It feels weird to say those words. I'd never been in heat before, I'd never had a wolf before. But I can't shift, so how am I in heat?
It makes no sense.
14.52.
32 Ava, Omega?
V. I feel nothing. No raging hormones, no insatiable
Urges.
just the dull, lingering ache from my injuries and exhaustion from everything that happened today.
Celine? I call, but it's still silent.
I glance down at the ring on my finger, twisting it to watch the purple crystal glint in the light. Too bad it can't give me the answers I need right now. Sighing, I heave myself onto my feet. I don't want to lay in bed like this, I'll shower first. It might help calm me down. The bathroom is as clinical and stark as the rest of the room, but the sight of the spacious shower stall is inviting. I peel off my tattered clothes, wincing as the fabric catches on my various scrapes and bruises. The warm water that cascades over me is blissful, and I tilt my face into the spray, letting it sluice away some of the grime and tension. It's not until I reach for a towel that I catch a glimpse my reflection in the mirror, and freeze. My breath catches in my throat as I realize the crystal pendant I'd fashioned into a makeshift necklace is no longer resting against my chest. Panic seizes me as I pat frantically at my neck, searching for the familiar weight of my necklace and finding only smooth skin. Where is it? How could I have lost it? Hurriedly, I retrace my steps, dripping water across the tile as I scour the bathroom. I get down on my hands and knees, peering under the sink and toilet, my heart pounding with rising dread. Nothing. It's not here. Wrapping myself in a towel, I venture back into the main room, my gaze darting frantically about as I search for any sign of the missing crystal. I rifle through the sheets on the bed, tossing pillows aside as my desperation grows. Not there. Belongs to copyright N0 Veldrama.org. I get the bright idea to check my pockets, but it isn't there either. Shit. Fuck. 1452. 33 Ava, Solon's return. You. I clutch the towel tighter around myself. Thank you. I just showered, so it's perfect timing. It dawns on me that I hadn't even checked for a change of clothes before showering. My brain's been defective since I got here. It's no wonder I didn't notice the necklace missing. I end up in a soft cotton hospital gown that buttons up in the back, instead of gaping open. Nurse Jenna left a cup of water at my bedside and showed me how to use my call light in case I needed anyone. Too bad none of them can help me materialize a missing necklace. I try to relax in bed, I can't. I try to relax in the recliner they've provided, I can't. I try to drink water, I can't. Food? Perish the thought. I wouldn't be able to swallow that, either. The thought alone makes me nauseated. I keep reaching out for Celine in my mind, meeting only silence. It's something I should be used to after. 14. 33 Ava, Selena's return. Years of it, but it's amazing how you adapt to change. I can't imagine life without Celine anymore, even when she isn't in my head. It's wrong. I fall asleep in fits and starts. Every few hours, a nurse comes in to check all my vitals, and it takes a long time until I can fall asleep again. But even a restless sleep replenishes your energy, and I wake at sunrise feeling ever so slightly refreshed and ready to take on the world. Well, maybe not the world, but definitely to ask Alpha Clayton if I can go back to the scene of the accident. Unfortunately, that doesn't go well. Apparently, he's too busy to just be called down to the hospital because a strange woman wants to meet with him. By lunch, I'm nearly crawling out of my skin with agitation. Ava. 33 Ava, Celine's return. I drop my spoonful of orange jello in shock. Celine. Where have you been? Can't far. It's like her voice is ebbing and flowing in my mind. I'm sure she's saying so much more than I can hear, but the important word is there. I must be too far to maintain a connection. This isn't something any other shifter could have explained to me. All their wolves exist with them. I've never heard of a wolf that can manifest into their own body, even if it is a dog's form. Relief blossoms, relaxing every inch of taut muscle as I lay back in my bed. My breath escapes me in a long sigh. Celine is close. She must have been running all night. I'm not sure how fast she can run, but it must have been hard on her.
Celine?
I ask after a few minutes. I can hear you, her voice whispers, and I can feel tears.
In my eyes. 1452. 33 Ava, Celine's return.
I'm in a hospital run by the Aspen Pack. Their alpha saved me last night. I quickly give a summary of events, feeling her presence strengthen every minute.
Are you hurt?
I shake my head, forgetting she can't see me.
Ava. Are you hurt?
Not bad, mainly from the car crash. I have some questions though. They said I'm going into heat. They want me here until my heat is over. Celine goes silent, but I can still feel her.
It's good to have her back.
That will be problematic, she says, sounding grim. Has the alpha scented you?
You mean sniffed me?
Yes. I can hear a faint growl in my head. Has he gotten near? The scar on your neck? No, I respond obediently.
Good.
Keep him away from it. When did you lose the necklace?
I look around.
How did you know?
Can you see me?
33 Ava Celine's return.
No.
If you're going into heat, it means you lost the
necklace. Oh.
That's news to me. Would have been nice to.
No. I don't know.
I thought I might have lost it during the crash, but now I'm thinking I might have lost it earlier. The guys who kidnapped me kept saying I was going into heat. Celine's sigh of frustration fills my head. Will you be safe there?
At the hospital? Yes.
I nod, then remember she can't see me.
Yes.
Alpha Clayton seems to be very kind, and has a good reputation as a leader. I don't think he will do anything.
To me. She sighs again.
I need to look for the necklace. Don't lose the ring too, or we will really be in trouble. I touch the ring, needing the physical reassurance that it's still there.
It is.
Are you going to explain it all to me now?
What I am. Why I'm in heat.
Why this necklace?
1452. 7.9. 33 Ava, Celine's return.
Keeps me from going into heat? Celine goes silent for a while. Her voice is fading when she finally responds.
We will talk, Ava.
Can't imagine life without Celine anymore, even when she isn't in my head.
It's wrong.
I fall asleep in fits and starts. Every few hours, a nurse comes in to check all my vitals, and it takes a long time until I can fall asleep again. But even a restless sleep replenishes your energy, and I wake at sunrise feeling ever so slightly refreshed and ready to take on the world. Well, maybe not the world. But definitely to ask Alpha Clayton if I can go back to the scene of the accident. Unfortunately, that doesn't go well. Apparently, he's too busy to just be called down to the hospital because a strange woman wants to meet with him. By lunch, I'm nearly crawling out of my skin with agitation.
Ava. 33 Ava, Celine's return.
I drop my spoonful of orange jello in shock.
Celine.
Where have you been?
Can't far.
It's like her voice is ebbing and flowing in my mind. I'm sure she's saying so much more than I can hear, but the important word is there. I must be too far to maintain a connection. This isn't something any other shifter could have explained to me. All their wolves exist with them. I've never heard of a wolf that can manifest into their own body, even if it is a dog's form. Relief blossoms, relaxing every inch of taut muscle as I lay back in my bed. My breath escapes me in a long sigh.
Celine is close.
She must have been running all night. I'm not sure how fast she can run, but it must have been hard on her.
Celine?
I ask after a few minutes. I can hear you, her voice whispers, and I can feel tears.
In my eyes. 1452. 33 Ava, Celine's return.
I'm in a hospital run by the Aspen Pack. Their alpha saved me last night. I quickly give a summary of events, feeling her presence strengthen every minute.
Are you hurt?
I shake my head, forgetting she can't see me.
Ava. Are you hurt?
Not bad, mainly from the car crash. I have some questions though. They said I'm going into heat. They want me here until my heat is over. Celine goes silent, but I can still feel her.
It's good to have her back.
That will be problematic, she says, sounding grim. Has the alpha scented you?
You mean sniffed me?
Yes. I can hear a faint growl in my head. Has he gotten near? The scar on your neck? No, I respond obediently.
Good.
Keep him away from it. When did you lose the necklace?
I look around.
How did you know?
Can you see me?
33 Ava Celine's return.
No.
If you're going into heat, it means you lost the
necklace. Oh.
That's news to me. Would have been nice to.
No. I don't know.
I thought I might have lost it during the crash, but now I'm thinking I might have lost it earlier. The guys who kidnapped me kept saying I was going into heat. Celine's sigh of frustration fills my head. Will you be safe there?
At the hospital? Yes.
I nod, then remember she can't see me.
Yes.
Alpha Clayton seems to be very kind, and has a good reputation as a leader. I don't think he will do anything.
To me. She sighs again.
I need to look for the necklace. Don't lose the ring too, or we will really be in trouble. I touch the ring, needing the physical reassurance that it's still there.
It is.
Are you going to explain it all to me now?
What I am. Why I'm in heat.
Why this necklace?
1452. 7.9. 33 Ava, Celine's return.
Keeps me from going into heat? Celine goes silent for a while. Her voice is fading when she finally responds.
We will talk, Ava. Comment 1. View all. 1452. Post your first comment. Vote. 1. Fandom.
Swipe left to continue.
B/B. 34 Ava overcome. 1.
Hello, Alpha Clayton, I say, smiling back despite the butterflies in my stomach. I'm keenly aware of Celine's warning about keeping him away from my scar. It's not like I want anyone near it anyway, but her caution makes me extra wary. He steps into the room, his presence filling the small space.
Please, just Clayton is fine.
His voice is warm, like honey and fresh, baked bread, all things that stimulate my appetite, probably a side effect from only being allowed to eat little cups of jello. How are you feeling? I apologize for not being able to check on
you sooner.
I wave off his apology, setting the jello cup aside. I'm doing better, thanks. The nurse said I still have a little while before the peak of my heat hits. Clayton brings a chair to the side of my bed, sitting with the elegant grace most wolf shifters manage without thinking. I don't have that level of grace, probably because I wasn't raised with my wolf inside of me like the rest of
them.
About that, Clayton says, sounding hesitant.
The 1452. 34 Ava, overcomo 1.
Doctors are certain that you are, in fact, a true Omega. I nod slowly, waiting for him to continue. We'd already established that. True Omega heats are, he claps his hands, unclasps them, and eventually rests them on the side of my bed as rests his elbows on his knees. His fingers brush gently against the side of my hand, and I'm surprised to feel fireworks explode at the contact.
Different. Different how?
I ask, distracted by how much I want to grab his hands, to link our fingers together. They're stronger. Wolves know when one is around, even if they can't directly scent them. So, the unmated wolves tend to get a little single-minded in their pursuit. I'm paying attention or trying to, but I'm also trying not to just rape his hand with an unwanted
hand holding. 1.
Even I will have a hard time controlling myself, so we will do our best to keep only female employees once it's confirmed that you're entering your peak. He seems to understand what's going on in my head. Probably because I've been staring at his hand without
34 Ava overcome. 1. Blinking.
He reaches out, and I link my fingers through his with a satisfied sigh. His voice gets a little rougher, and I blink at him as he speaks, wondering why his voice sounds so nice. A true Omega seeks an alpha when she's in heat, though a strong beta can also catch her attention, he says, and I realize that he's now sitting on the edge of my bed. And we're staring at each other, as his thumb caresses the back of my hand in a way that's driving me insane. Content is copyright 2024 noveldrama.org. I tilt my chin up just a little, and Clayton leans down to nuzzle against my jaw. Do you need an alpha, Ava? He asks in that rough voice that makes everything inside me tingle. I nod, panting a little as he drags our clasped hands up my thigh, pressing gently down against the top of my pelvis. I wiggle a little, and he bites my ear.
You smell divine.
I sigh as he lets go of my hand, pulling my blanket down. He nuzzles down the side of my neck, licking at the crescent scar that's really important. 14.52. 34 Ava, overcoino 1. Important. My scar is important. Why? Because it feels good when he kisses it.
Yes. And licks it. And nibbles. And bites. And fuck.
Part of my brain function returns, and I shove at Clayton's chest weakly.
Wait. Alpha dash.
Yes, he breathes, before latching onto my neck and sucking hard in a way that has my entire body jolting off the bed. I grab his head, wanting to pull him away. But instead shove him closer. Warning bells are going off somewhere, but I don't care.
Harder, I beg him, and he bites down.
I moan in dizzying delight, and his hand is rough as it yanks at the bottom of my hospital gown, shoving it up.
1452. 34 Ava overcome 1. Precision.
I can feel his fingers sliding, parting me, and
Alpha Clayton.
Someone's screaming. Clayton's growling as he shoves his fingers inside of me, and I'm trying desperately to keep him there, bucking against his hand. I'm pleading, he's snarling, and suddenly he's gone. I burst into tears as frustration burns through me, only to feel someone holding me gently. Someone's growling and snarling, and I want to go to them, but...
Shoo, Ava. Shoo.
Something pinches my thigh, but I can't swat it away because there's something on top of them, weighing
them down. I'm dizzy.
I feel weird.
I know, sweetheart.
You just need to hold on a little longer. We gave you some medicine to help, okay? I need the alpha, I whimper.
I need him.
I know, honey, but I don't think you know what you're.
1453. 6.9. 30 Ava. Overcome, 1.
Doing right now? I remember her name now, the one holding me and stroking my hair. The one who made my arms feel like they weigh 1,000 pounds.
Jenna.
I blink owlishly, realizing my vision is blurry. I yank my glasses off my face, glad to see that everything's finally clear again. Throwing my glasses across the room, I try to pull
away from Jenna. Alpha Clayton. I need Alpha. Clayton. No, you don't.
Your body's calming down.
You're fine. It's not calming down. I'm hot. It hurts.
I need him, but he isn't here.
He rejected me. Then he apologized. And then he disappeared.
I don't know where he is. Alpha Clayton didn't reject you, Jenna says, her warm voice a soothing balm to the itch inside of me. He just needed to come to his senses, even if he didn't want to. He's outside now, and he won't be back until your heat is over.
Okay. 1453C. 34 Ava. Overcome, 1.
I shake my head.
Not Clayton. Lucas.
I need Lucas.
Oh.
Well, Lucas isn't here right now, and we're all here to get you through this together, okay? Hey, Nance, can you get me another dose? She should be out right now, but she's fighting it.
Her pulse is all over the place, another voice complains.
This isn't working, and Alpha's going nuts out there. I'm scared to even open the door. He might come barging in. Alpha's out there?
Lucas. My Alpha.
I shove Jenna off me and rush to the door, opening it just before Jenna pulls me back.
Alpha. Clayton.
I tear at the hands restraining me, snarling with a fury that nearly chokes me. The scent of my mate, my Omega, still clings to my skin, an intoxicating perfume that drives me to the brink of madness.
Let me go.
I roar, thrashing against the iron grip of my beta and the guards I'd assigned to Ava's room, all mated, all safe from her heat. They hold fast, dragging me further from the room where she lies.
Further from
the sweet siren song of her scent. Alpha, you must control yourself, Rowan grits out, his voice strained with the effort of containing my rage. But control is a distant memory, shattered the moment.
I caught her scent.
The moment I knew she was mine. Exclusive content from noveldrama.org. She needs me, I growl, the words tearing from my throat like shards of glass. Every fiber of my being screams to go to her, to claim what is mine by right. To sink my teeth into the soft curve of her neck and mark her as my own.
To fuck her, to breed her too. 1453.
35 Clayton, overcome, 2. Claim her so no one else can. So my scent is all over her.
So she's mine. All mine. But they don't understand.
They can't feel the primal pull, the all-consuming need that sets my blood on fire. She's my mate, the other half of my soul.
And they dare to keep me from her?
I lunge forward, a savage roar building in my chest. But more hands grasp at me, holding me back. I can hear their voices, a distant buzz drowned out by the pounding of my own heart.
Alpha, please. You're not in your right mind. She's in heat, Clayton.
You know what that means.
Rowan grunts.
Fuck, you might have to hold me back too.
I can smell her. Shit. I need her. God damn it. Beta.
We can't deal with the both of you.
At once. Wake up. Rowan snarls. I know. Damn it.
My wolf thinks she's my fucking mate. This fucking Omega heat is bullshit.
Fuck. Fuck. This is killing me. Clayton. Wake the fuck up. Hey you, hit me.
Hit me once so I can wake up.
Fuck. I want to fuck her. I'm going.
A meaty thud follows his words, along with a grunted.
2:6.
35 Clayton, overcome, IL. Shit, it's not working. I'm going to need to be restrained. But their words are meaningless. All that matters is her.
My Omega. My Ava.
I catch a glimpse of her through the doorway, her face flushed and eyes glazed with need.
Need for me.
The sight sends a bolt of pure, primal desire shooting through me, and I renew my struggles with a
Vengeance.
Close the fucking door. I hear someone yell, and then the door slams closed.
I can't see her anymore.
Ava, I rasp, her name a prayer and a curse on my lips.
Ava.
But they're too strong, too many. I feel myself being dragged back, further and further from her intoxicating presence. The scent of her heat fades, replaced by the sterile tang of the hospital corridor. I shove and thrash, my body a whirlwind of raw, animalistic fury as I fight against the restraints holding me back. The hands grappling at my arms, my shoulders, are nothing more than infuriating obstacles keeping me from what is mine.
From her. 1453.
35 Clayton, overcome, 2. Let me go, damn you. I snarl, my wolf raging just beneath the surface, clawing to be set free.
To claim its mate. My mate. Alpha, please.
Someone's strained voice cuts through the red haze of need clouding my mind. You have to fight this. She's not Dash. But I don't let him finish. With a feral growl, I wrench myself free from his grasp, sending him staggering back. The guards clutch at me, their grips like iron shackles, but I shake them off with a strength born of pure desperation.
Ava.
I have to get to Ava. Her scent still lingers in the air, a tantalizing tease that has me salivating with want.
With need.
My wolf howls inside me, a savage, possessive thing that demands to be sated. To claim its mate in the most primal way possible.
I can't fight it anymore. I don't want to.
Letting out a guttural roar, I charge forward, barreling through the feeble attempts to restrain me. The door to her room is so close now, just a few strides away. I can almost taste her on my tongue, sweet and
1453.
35 Clayton, overcome, 2.
Intoxicating.
And then, as if by some cosmic twist of fate, the door swings open. There she is, framed in the doorway like a vision from my wildest dreams.
My Omega. My mate.
Alpha, she cries out, and her sweet voice has me trembling with need. Our eyes meet, and the world around us seems to fall away. There's only her flushed cheeks, her heaving chest, her eyes burning with a need that mirrors my own. An eternity seems to pass in that single, charged moment, our gazes locked in a searing
embrace.
Then, as if pulled by some inexorable force, we're moving towards each other. My strides are long, devouring the distance between us in the span of a few ragged breaths. And then she's in my arms, her soft curves molding perfectly against the hard planes of my body. A strangled groan escapes my lips as her scent envelopes me, setting every nerve ending ablaze. It's heady and rich, a tempting blend of honey and vanilla that has my wolf howling in ecstasy.
Mine. She's mine. 1453. 35 Clayton. Overcoma, 2.
Ava whimpers softly, her fingers clutching at my shirt as if she's drowning and I'm her only lifeline. I can feel the heat rolling off her in waves, her skin feverish and slick with need.
For me.
Alpha, she gasps again, her voice a breathless plea that sears straight through me. I can't resist her siren song any longer. With a low, possessive growl, I crush my lips to hers in a searing, all-consuming kiss. My hands dive into his hair, yanking him closer as I rub and writhe against him, ignoring the hands pulling at me, trying to tear me away from my mate.
My Lucas.
My Alpha. Our content held by noveldrama.org. The kiss consumes me down to my soul, and I wrap my legs around him, reveling in the feel of him against me as he holds me to him, settling the core of me just above the erection I can feel pressing against his jeans. I gasp between kisses, and grind down, begging for more, ignoring the voices around us. I feel another pinch on my thigh, and I cling to my Alpha, moaning as his tongue dives into my mouth again and again, exploring every millimeter.
Ava. 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 Wake. Up.
Celine's voice breaks through the kisses, but I can only feel annoyance.
Go away.
His hands are up my gown, squeezing my breasts, and
1453. 36 Ava. Overcome, 2.
Oh my god, he's pinching my nipples in a way that makes me jerk my hips against him and moan.
Ava. He isn't Lucas. He isn't your mate.
I pull away from the brain, numbing kiss, panting as I try to focus on the man in front of me.
Lucas? No? Yes?
I blink, and lose my focus when he swoops in for another kiss. I can still feel people trying to tug us apart, but my Alpha refuses to let me go. I yank hard at his chestnut hair, telling him without words that I want it rougher, and
wait.
Lucas doesn't have hair this color. I pull back again, covering his mouth with my hand. He licks and nibbles at my palm, and I can feel him rhythmically rubbing my hips against him in a way that makes me want to give up and let him do whatever he
wants to me.
But he's not Lucas.
He's Clayton. 1453.
36 Ava. Overcome, 3.
Alpha Clayton. Yes. Not Lucas. Wake up, Ava.
Your heat is taking over you. You need to take control, unless you want to be mated to the Aspen Alpha. That doesn't sound so bad. In fact, it sounds great. Great enough that I want to tear his clothes off and do it right now. Ava, I groan, then yelp as firm hands grab me around the chest and yank me out of Clayton's grip, just as Clayton falls to the ground. I see Nurse Jenna, then, with 2 syringes in her hand and a guilty look on her face. My body arches into the man who took me from Clayton, but whoever it is sets me on the ground with a laugh.
Won't work on me. Sorry, little Omega. Here, Jen, why don't we knock her out too?
She's just going to keep escaping if we don't. I nod frantically.
Yes. Please. I can't, I want, help me.
I'm incoherent, but at least I'm starting to realize that something is very, very wrong. 1453. 38 Ava Overcome, 1. I just made out with Alpha Clayton like a depraved maniac, and I'm pretty sure his wolf is convinced we're mates. But we're not, because Lucas is my mate.
Isn't he? I think he is.
And despite being horrified, there's a huge heat-driven part of me that wants to pounce back onto Alpha Clayton and let him have his bestial way with me, driven purely by the urges of my heat. Yes, that's the heat slut in you.
Just ignore her, Ava.
Once you get used to it, she won't take over anymore. Celine sounds resigned. This wasn't supposed to happen this way. I told you to keep him away from
your scar.
I declined to mention how all her instructions went out the window the moment I saw his face.
Or was it when
I smelled him?
I'm not sure.
I want him back.
No, Ava. Calm down. I'll be there soon. Okay, Ava honey.
It's just going to be a little stick dash. Whoever is holding me won't let me go, no matter how much I writhe and kick against his hold.
1453.
36 Ava Overcome, LL. Dizziness rushes through me in a wave.
My knees buckle.
I can feel whoever's holding me tightening his grip, saving me from crashing to the floor like a boneless chicken. Okay, it's taking effect. We need to keep an eye on her vitals. Let's get her into the isolation unit. She's as frenzied as the men are, Nurse Jenna says, her relief palpable, even to my drugged ears. I struggle to keep my eyes open. I can't hold myself up anymore, and I slump against the mountain holding me, feeling blessed relief from the manic desire that had taken over me.
Come on, little Omega.
Let's get you somewhere safe, the man murmurs, his voice distorted and distant. I try to protest, but my words come out as a garbled mumble. My eyelids droop, and I catch a glimpse of Alpha Clayton being lifted from the floor, his face flushed and his eyes glazed over. The bright, white ceiling is the first thing that really hits my brain as it loads back into consciousness. It hurna mu quan with light and I squint at it wishing I
1453.
36 Ava Overcome, I could just turn the lights off with my thoughts.
Of course, it doesn't work. Of course not.
You've had no training. I blink at the ceiling.
Right. No training.
No wonder I
can't do it. Wait. What?
I can move shit with my mind? My brain cycles into awareness faster with that shock.
Of course not. Wake up, Ava.
I try to sit up, only to realize my arms and legs are restrained. My eyes trail over the ties holding me to the rails of my bed, then over the room to realize I'm
alone. The door is closed.
It's huge and metal, not like a normal hospital door. Goosebumps prickle over my skin, and I can't help but shiver. I don't want to know what happens in this room where they need a room
like that.
Remembering everything that happened with Alpha Clayton, a blush fires from my chest straight into my face.
Fuck.
Yeah, I can see why they'd need a door like. I was an animal.
And so was he.
I can feel Celine in the back of my mind, and I know that she's asleep. I don't bother her, I have a more pressing concern. There's no call light within reach, and I wiggle and struggle against my restraints. I desperately need to pee. I can hear a little electronic click, then a disinterested, staticky voice fills the room. Do you need anything? I clear my throat, licking my dry lips. I need to go to the bathroom. My voice is hoarse, my throat sore. I wonder if I've been screaming. I have a feeling I have been. Your nurse will be in just a moment, static voice says, and clicks off again. I realize then that they're probably watching me on camera, and my skin prickles in unease. Somehow, this feels worse than dealing with a horny kidnapper rubbing himself on me.
37 Ava, Overcome 4.
I try not to think about it. It's something I'm used to doing, it's how I've made it through life this far. But I really need to pee, damn it. A nurse I don't recognize comes in, and it takes a solid 30 seconds for her to lock the door behind her. It's embarrassing to see how many security measures are in place to keep me unmated. How are you feeling? You seem to be pretty rational, she says, chipper as the morning sun.
I hate her. I feel like shit. My head hurts. My body hurts.
I have horrible memories of me throwing myself at a man I barely know in front of who knows how many strangers, and here's this pretty nurse with her life together, asking me how I'm doing. I need to go to the bathroom, or I'm going to burst.
Okay.
I can remove your restraints, but if you start feeling off, we're going to have to put you back in them. We don't want a repeat of last night. She speaks in a matter-of-fact kind of way, but I can't help blushing. I'd rather not, I agree with a sigh, perking up when cha nomen to mu aid and starta unhuabling my urint.
1454. 37 Ava, overcome 4. First.
Now that I know I'm about to have freedom, my urgency has become an emergency.
Please hurry.
The nurse releases me from the restraints, and I bolt for the bathroom in panic. For a brief moment, I'm able to push aside the confusion and embarrassment. But then memories rush back, and I bury my face in my hands as I remember it all. Ugh. I wish I had amnesia. If only there was a pill to cancel heat and cause 24 hours of memory loss. But there isn't, so I flush the toilet and wash my hands. Drying them with a thin hospital towel, I stare at my reflection. Tangled hair, puffy eyes, and hickeys everywhere. I shudder and turn away from the mirror, patting my hot cheeks. So embarrassing. Thankfully, the nurse is gone when I exit the
bathroom.
The sight of the restraints hanging off my bed makes my stomach roil with nausea, so I sit on the visitor's couch instead.
37 Ava, overcome 4.
The nurse comes in, followed by a female doctor, going through the elaborate process of locking and unlocking the steel door. The doctor enters the room, a warm smile on her face.
Good morning, Ava.
I'm Dr. Summers. How are you feeling today?
I shrug.
Knowing she probably heard about last night makes me feel awkward, so I avoid her eyes. Embarrassed, mostly.
And sore.
I gesture vaguely at my neck. Dr. Summers nods, her expression serious.
I understand.
What you experienced was a very intense heat cycle, Ava. Much stronger than what we typically see in omegas. She sits down across from me, folding her hands in her lap. Honestly, though, we don't have a lot of documented information on true omegas and their heat cycles. They're incredibly rare. All omegas are called that because they were given the rank, not born
as one.
I swallow hard, my stomach churning with unease. So, what does that mean for me?
14.54. 37 Ava, overcome 4.
Dr. Summers sighs. It means we underestimated the severity of your heat. We thought we would have more time before the peak hit. She looks at me directly, her eyes apologetic.
I'm sorry, Ava.
We should have taken more precautions. I shrug a shoulder, trying to be nonchalant.
It's okay.
I mean, it's not, but
I understand.
We're going to do everything we can to help you through this, Ava.
I promise.
Dr. Summers leans Noveldrom, org holds text copyright rights. Forward, her voice gentle but firm. But I need you to be honest with me about your symptoms, okay? Even if it's embarrassing. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself.
Okay. I can do that.
Dr. Summers smiles encouragingly.
Good.
Now tell me, how are you feeling physically?
Any pain? Discomfort?
I shift on the couch, wincing slightly.
I'm sore. Everywhere. And I feel, I don't know, restless? Like my skin is too tight. She nods, making a note on her clipboard. That's common during heat.
Your body is going through a lot.
1459. 5.7. 37 Ava, overcome 4.
Of changes right now.
And the need? The desire?
Is that normal too?
I
ask, my face flushing.
Yes, it is.
Your hormones are in overdrive right now, Ava. It's going to affect your emotions and your physical desires. Dr. Summers looks at me sympathetically. I know it's overwhelming, but it's all part of the process. And for you, any alpha or relatively strong shifter is going to tempt you. Unfortunately, Alpha Shadowpine's presence was a trigger last night. And we don't want to risk another situation. I nod, trying to absorb this information. It's a lot to take in, on top of everything else. We're going to monitor you closely, Ava. We'll do everything we can to keep you comfortable and safe. Dr. Summers stands up, offering me a reassuring smile. If you need anything at all, just let one of the nurses know, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Summers. I manage a small smile, grateful for her kindness. Their doctors know nothing, Celine says in my mind.
Knowledge. What do you mean?
Celine sighs in my mind, a little huff that brings a picture to my mind's eye of her resting her chin on her front paws.
I miss her.
You are not an omega, she finally says. Omegas don't exist.
I tilt my head.
It isn't that I don't believe Celine, it's just that, well, I mean, how do omegas not exist? All shifters have ranks, once they come into adulthood. Well, I never got a rank, because I didn't have a rank. But everyone else has one.
Celine growls.
Omegas were created for the pleasure of the alphas of old, who wanted nothing more than to breed and dominate. It was a different time. I talk out loud, because I'm giving myself a headache by thinking too hard at her. What about the true omegas they're talking about? 38 Ava, challenging common knowledge. There is no true omega. There are only shifters with powerful heat cycles. Some of them were known to breed strong alpha pups. Wolves and humans both tend toward the superstitious. Powerful heat cycles come to powerful she-wolves. It has nothing to do with their arbitrary rankings. I rub my eyes in frustration. It isn't that I'm not understanding the words she's saying, it's just that nothing is making sense in my head, like we're speaking of a foreign land. So they just made up this entire thing, because some strong wolf got really horny during heat? Yes. How does that even make sense? All of these ranks are for human ego. Alphas have always existed, though we did not have a word for them. Even strong betas can be alphas. It isn't a birthright, but a matter of strength and leadership. Strong wolves lead the pack.
Weak wolves follow. It isn't rocket science.
I groan, resting my forehead on my hand as Celine Thompson a home on the Antiro ranking hierarchy of 38 Ava, challenging common knowledge.
Shifters. Hush, little one.
I hear your skepticism. Having a wolf in my head gives me no privacy at all. But even our wolves refer to our ranks, I protest.
Don't.
They? Content rights belong to noveldrama.org. Celine's sigh this time is so strong I can almost feel it in the room with me. Child, there is too much history to go through. Yes, the weak wolves of today's shifters have accepted this, as this is how your packs work now. But they were not always so. It sounds like Celine's telling me the entire history of shifters is wrong.
It is. I groan.
Somehow, I know I don't want to hear.
This.
This is why I didn't tell you anything before.
Any of. Okay. I take a deep breath.
Explain it to me from the beginning, Celine. Long ago, wolves and humans lived in harmony, Celine. 1456. 38 Ava, challenging common knowledge. Begins, her voice a soothing rumble in my mind. The great wolves, lichens, were respected and revered by human magicians. They worked together, each benefiting from the other's strengths. But as with all things human, war eventually came. The gods, fickle beings that they were, grew tired of the constant bloodshed waged in their names. They decided to flee this world, to find solace in another realm. The lichens, in their wisdom and loyalty, agreed to be sacrificed to ensure the gods' safe departure. Their souls were to guide and protect the gods on their journey.
Sacrificed. The word is heavy in my mind.
To give up one's life, even for a god, that's a level of devotion I can't fathom. But some among the human magicians were not content with this. They delved into forbidden magic, seeking to bring the lichen souls back from the realm between life and death, desiring their strength. And so the first shifters were born, weakened lichen souls merging with human bodies. But such a violation.
1454. A.B.
38 Ava, challenging common knowledge. Of the natural order could not go unpunished. I hold my breath, dreading what comes next in Celine's
tale.
The lichen curse descended upon the magicians and their descendants. The returned lichen souls, enraged by the betrayal, consumed them. Over time, these souls developed their own identity, working in harmony with the souls they shared life with. They became lichen shifters. I frown, trying to reconcile this with the history I've been taught.
Shifters, cursed?
It goes against everything I know. We are blessed by the moon goddess, and given a gift, or so we're told. As centuries passed, the lichen shifters became simply known as wolf shifters. They formed their own packs, their own traditions and values, based on their unique history. And that, little one, is the true origin of our kind.
Two souls cursed into one body.
Celine's voice fades, leaving me in a stunned silence. It's a lot to take in, this alternate history. Part of me wants to reject it, to cling to the familiar stories I've grown up with.
1454.
38 Ava, challenging common knowledge.
But
what does this have to do with me? It means, Ava, that you are more than what they've told you. You are not an omega. You are a descendant of the original magicians, a being of magic and power in your own right. But doesn't that mean I'm cursed?
Of course.
I wait for her to elaborate, but she doesn't.
But I'm different. Yes.
Then why aren't Jessa and Phoenix different? It is in your soul, not in your blood.
I sigh. Okay. Celine, how am I different?
Explain it to me like I'm 5. You are stronger than the others. So, because I'm strong, my heat is strong. That's what she'd said just a few moments ago. It is one of the reasons, she concedes.
Though you're
38 Ava, challenging common knowledge. Yours is to gain strength. Did you miss the part where I jumped Clayton's bones and tried to fuck him in front of the hospital staff? Sex, of course, is part of it, Celine says primly.
I sigh.
It's like having half answers, which Celine excels at so thoroughly. But I remember clearly feeling a heat going through my body once before, and feeling refreshed and stronger after. I think I might understand, a little bit.
Not really, but kind of.
You have the strength of the arcane running through your blood, she says simply.
And I. She stops.
Well, that's for another time. What, that you're a leakin? Well, we are all leakin of a sort, Celine says vaguely.
Wait.
When she says strength of the arcane, Celine, are you saying I can do magic?
1454.
You have the potential, Celine says, her voice a cautious whisper in my mind. The arcane flows through your veins.
But
my breath escapes me in a giddy rush. Magic. Real magic. Human magic. It's something out of a fairy tale, not something that should exist in my life. Then again, supernaturals exist, and we're pretty non-standard.
Ourselves.
It's not that simple, Celine continues, her tone growing more serious. Magic is not a toy, little one. It's a force of nature, raw and untamed. To wield it requires knowledge, discipline, and control. I swallow hard, feeling the warning in her words. But how do I learn? I don't even know where to start.
Novel drama, org holds text copyright rights. You would need a teacher, Celine explains, her voice tinged with hesitation.
Someone well versed in the arcane arts, who could guide you, show you how to harness and control your power. But magic is a lost art. Magicians were lost to the curse and became shifters.
1455. 39 Ava, her identity. Talk about a letdown. Oh.
So, I won't be able to do magic. Is that how you say it?
Do magic?
Cast magic?
Spell magic?
Cast spells? It all feels weird in my mouth. It is unlikely, Celine says, but she still has that cautious
sound to her voice.
If I tried, what's the worst that could happen?
Death.
A simple word, bluntly given, with all the truth in the world behind it. I shudder at the matter of fact tone. In times long past, many talented humans were lost to the recklessness of their magical talent. Until magicians began to teach each other, too many lives were lost in the pursuit of the power within them.
Do not open that door, Ava.
I rub my arms vigorously, trying to regain some of the warmth that fled my body as she spoke. Okay, I say, shoving down the odd sense of loss. Magic would have been amazing to learn, of course. But if Celine says it's too dangerous, I believe her. It isn't worth my life to try and grasp something so.
39 Ava, her identity. Volatile.
So I focus on a question that's been bothering me from the beginning. Celine, you're my wolf, right?
Of course.
Then why are you separate from me? No shifter has a wolf with a physical body. Celine hums, a thoughtful sound that echoes through my mind. You were born bonded with the ancient magic, she explains in that non-explaining way, where nothing is really answered. We are both separate and one at the same time.
I groan. That makes no sense. You're being cryptic again.
All shifters are bonded with ancient magic, and they don't have any separate, only one. Why am I different? Crypticity is something that can't be helped, Celine sighs, and I can almost picture her shaking her head. It's the nature of what we are. Crypticity? What are you, an English professor now? And what are we exactly? Are you a leakin or a shifter?
39 Ava, her identity.
I am pure, Celine says, her voice filled with a quiet pride. I came to be with you of my own choice. I squint, as if that somehow makes my brain work better.
How is that possible? Doesn't the curse decide
who is matched? That is a story for another time, Celine says, her tone turning brisk. For now, it's more important that you take a cold shower before your heat starts back up.
Clayton is near.
The mention of the alpha sends a shiver down my spine, and I can feel the first tendrils of heat starting to uncurl in my belly. Celine's right, I don't want to be in a frantic state like yesterday. But I can't let this conversation go just yet. I'm finally getting answers. But how can you just choose to be with me? And what do you mean, we're separate and one at the same time? I don't understand any of this. I know, little one, Celine says, her voice softening. There is much you don't understand yet. But trust me when I say that everything will be revealed in time. For now, focus on getting through your heat.
We can talk. 39 Ava, her identity. More later.
I want to argue to demand answers, but the heat is building faster now, and I can feel my skin starting to prickle with sweat. I need to get this under control before I become a feral, slutty mess. One humiliation is enough. I head for the bathroom, tearing off my hospital gown and tossing it on the ground as I go. Niceties are foregone, I just want to get control of my body as soon
as I can.
I can sense the presence of a powerful wolf. I don't know how far they are, but they're close enough that I'm lifting my chin to sniff, trying to get their scent in.
My nose. There's 2 of them.
One's a little weaker, but he'll do.
Ava. Shit. Right.
I slap my nose, which of course does nothing to help but makes me feel better for at least trying, and turn on the water at its coldest setting. I'm shivering in minutes, huddled under that freezing.
39 Ava, her identity.
Spray, but it seems to help keep my mind clear to an
extent.
My teeth are chattering, so I talk to Celine through my mind again. Why is heat even a thing? This is ridiculous. I'm losing my mind because I want some dick? Who came up with this stupid idea? Celine's chuckle soothes a little of my annoyance.
It is stupid, she agrees.
But lichens have a strong urge to breed, to perpetuate our kind. It's far more than you would find with any wolf, or any other animal. Unfortunately, it passed into our human bonds, and humans are weaker to it. It makes me a little sick. So that's why so many wolves mate before they're even adults? Many of those girls go into heat young, Celine says, regret in her voice. They also need to be mated to ensure their safety in some packs.
Some packs. Like mine.
Being protected here in this hospital makes me realize how differently other packs may treat their
wolves.
Alpha Renard would have mated with me in a
1455. 39 Ava, her identity.
Heartbeat if I'd shown up in front of him in heat. I heave uncontrollably at even the thought of mating with someone like him.
Harsh, cruel old.
He's older than my dad. I gag again. Yes, Celine says quietly. It was never safe for you to meet your wolf in that place.
Comment 4. View all. Post your first comment.
I brace myself against the slick tiles, my chest heaving with harsh, ragged breaths as Clayton's eyes blaze into mine. The heat between us is a living, breathing thing, a palpable force that crackles in the air like an electric
current.
Clayton, I manage, my voice a breathless rasp. We need to call the guards. My words would probably have a little more punch if I wasn't still working my fingers between my thighs. His eyes fall from my face to my hands, and he steps
forward.
A thrill rushes through me, and I spread my legs a little farther. The guards, I prompt, even as I bring myself to yet another orgasm, panting as my face flushes with
its heat.
I want his fingers, not mine. I want his tongue, not his fingers.
I want his cock, not his tongue. I want 1450.
1177.
41 Ava, virgin heat, 1.
Fuck, I can't handle this. His nostrils flare at the sound of my voice, his jaw clenching as a muscle ticks in his chiseled cheek. I can see the war raging within him, the primal alpha instincts battling against his ironclad control. Ava, he growls, and the sound of my name on his lips sends a fresh wave of desire crashing through me. I whimper, my thighs clenching tight as I struggle to stay standing. Clayton's eyes zero in on the motion, darkening to smoky jade as a low rumble builds in his chest. He takes a step forward, his movements slow and deliberate, like a predator stalking its prey. You're playing with fire, little one, he warns, his voice a low, gravelly purr that sends shivers racing down my spine. I can smell your need from here. It's taking everything I have not to take you right now. A whine escapes me at his words, my body arching helplessly towards him. The heat is a living inferno now, an all-consuming blaze that threatens to reduce me to ashes if I don't find release soon. Please, I beg, the word torn from my lips in a
1450. 217. 41 Ava, virgin heat, 1.
Desperate, keening cry. I can't bring myself to say it, to voice the craving that consumes me from the inside out. But Clayton seems to understand, his eyes glittering with a feral light as he takes another step forward. You need your alpha, he finishes, his tone a dark promise that has my core clenching with fresh need.
You need to be claimed, don't you, little one?
Filled and bred until that delicious heat of yours is sated at
last.
A broken moan spills from my lips as images explode behind my eyes. Clayton pinning me down, spearing into me over and over as he takes me with brutal, claiming force. His knot swelling inside me, locking us together as he floods me with his seed, branding me as his mate from the inside out. It's everything my body craves, everything this maddening heat demands. But some small, rational part of me knows that it isn't right, that Clayton isn't my fated mate, no matter how badly my instincts are screaming for me to let him claim me.
No claiming. 41 Ava, virgin heat, 1. Just sex.
Just relief from all this.
But,
guards, I force out, my voice cracking with strain. We need the guards. I'm trying to maintain rationality, and yet I hold out my hand, beckoning him.
Closer.
A low, rumbling snarl builds in Clayton's chest as he prowls closer, his eyes blazing like twin emerald flames. No guards, little one, he counters, his tone laced with steel. Just you and me. He closes the distance between us in 2 long strides, his hands slamming against the tile on either side of my head as he cages me in. I can feel the scorching heat of his body, can smell the heady, musky scent of his arousal mingling with mine in the steamy air. He's soaked from the water, and I struggle with the urge to lick every drop off his skin. Let me take care of you, Ava, he murmurs, his breath fanning hot across my lips. Let me claim what's mine. His mouth crashes down on mine, swallowing my Wimner of unrice as he kinnin me with a
Murarica Naha. 1456. Voracious. 41 Ava, virgin heat, 1. All, consuming hunger. His tongue plunges past my lips, stroking against mine in a blatant possession that has me arching into him with a desperate mule. I'm drowning in the taste of him, in the blazing heat of his kiss and the hard planes of his body pressed against mine. My fingers tangle in his hair, clutching him closer as the fire rages hotter, burning away the last vestiges of my control. One of his hands curls into my hair, yanking my head back as he plunders my mouth. The other slides down, pressing against my lower abdomen in a way that makes my hips buck. He slides one jean-clad leg between mine, and I grind down immediately, groaning at the feel of rough, wet denim against my core. The friction is maddeningly delicious, and I can't quite get the angle for my clit, frustrating me to no end. But his fingers dive there, twisting, pinching, rubbing in turns until I'm writhing and riding his leg in a way I never knew I could, exploding from that little touch. Alone.
You're perfect, he whispers, biting at my lips.
Fuck. 1450. 41 of our virgin heat, 1. We need the bed.
We need to get to the bed. But we don't move anywhere as his fingers take the place of his leg. They plunge inside without any foreplay, and pain blossoms into the greatest pleasure.
Fuck. Fuck me. Oh my god.
There's nothing gentle about his movements as his fingers curl, abusing that spot just inside that I can never touch quite right. I think I might be screaming, because I can't handle the pleasure. A part of me knows that this is wrong, that I shouldn't be letting this happen. But that voice is a mere whisper against the roar of instinct, against the primal cravings that consume me from the inside out. All I can think about is how badly I need this, how badly I need my alpha to claim me and sate this maddening blaze. Clayton's tongue strokes against mine in a heated promise, and I shudder against him with a low, keening moan, bucking my hips against his. Less than 41 Ava, virgin heat, 1. Hand as I beg for more. Mine. He'll be mine, if only for this moment. Hello, lovely readers. Future chapters will be locked from here on out. So if you're interested in Ava and her journey to find herself, it's there in the plot somewhere between all the smoot, or if you shamelessly are just here for the spice, totally okay girl I get.
Lena Leah.
Creator's thought.
Comment 12. She sighs.
It was a consideration, she says, and leaves it at that. For the first time, I think I'm truly grateful that I was a defect. If I'd had Celine, if I'd gone into heat like this in the pack, the life I would lead makes me shudder. Thankfully, thinking about it helps with the symptoms of heat, too. Nothing like an instant turn, off even in the face of leaken reproductive urges.
Wait a second.
Why aren't you affected by my heat, if it's because of the leaken part of me? Celine's silence has me narrowing my eyes at the empty air.
Celine.
I am not as young or as inexperienced as you, child. A heat does not overcome me in that way. So I'm young and inexperienced, and therefore I.
1450. 40 Ava, make your decision.
Become a slutty ball of desire when I go through heat?
Not fair.
Be careful, Celine says out of nowhere. I look around but I'm alone.
My heat isn't out of control. What?
He's going to come through the window.
Your guards are unaware. Shit.
What do? I need to tell the nurse. Mating with an alpha would help your heat. You can do it without acclaiming, if you want. You don't have to be fully mated just because you mate once or twice.
What?
I wish Celine was here so I could stare at her. I thought you didn't want me to mate with Clayton.
He's not our fated. Celine huffs.
You can mate with whoever you choose. I don't think you need to be loyal to a fate who didn't recognize what he had. I just think you should choose.
40 Ava, make your decision.
It when you're more clear-minded.
Oh.
I guess that makes sense. But do I want that? Clayton has been nothing but kind and respectful. He's provided me with care in the form of an entire
hospital.
Even now, with my heat driving us both to the brink of insanity, he's doing everything in his power to protect me. Guards stand outside my door, ready to intervene if he loses control. He's prioritizing my safety and well-being, even at the cost of his own
comfort.
It's a stark contrast to Lucas. Lucas, who rejected me so callously after our moment in the garden. Lucas, who made me feel like I was
nothing.
Lucas, who shattered my heart and left me questioning my own worth.
And yet,
Lucas has been trying to make amends, hasn't he? The notes, the apologies, the meals left at my door. Is it possible that he regrets his actions?
That he wants to. 1450.
3.10.
40 Ava, make your decision.
Atone for the pain he caused me? I don't know what to think anymore. My heart yearns for Lucas, for the connection we shared, for the way he made me feel alive and whole. But my mind reminds me of the agony that followed, of the shame and humiliation I endured in the aftermath of his rejection. It would be so easy to give in to the temptation, to give in to my heat and do what my body's urging me to do. To mate with a near stranger. To let Clayton soothe the desperate, aching need that courses through my
veins.
But is that what I truly want? Or is it just the heat talking, clouding my judgment and obscuring the deeper truths of my heart?
I don't know.
I don't know what to do. I don't have to be bound by fate or by the expectations of others. I can choose my own path, my own destiny. Content protected by NOV/L/DRama.org. But now that I have a choice, it feels impossible to
make it. 40 Ava, make your decision. You need to make a choice, Ava.
Alert your nurses or choose Clayton.
Hurry.
He's almost there. If you can't make a decision, your heat will make it for you. I grit my teeth, bracing myself against the frigid tiles of the shower stall. The icy water cascades over my body, but it does nothing to quell the searing flames that lick at my insides. I'm already struggling to think, going in circles, and I can't leave the water to warn the nursing station of what's about to come through my window. I can't do this. Why does this stupid heat come on so? Can't do this. Why suddenly? The alpha brings it out, Celine says. He's almost there.
Choose, Ava.
A tremor racks my frame as another wave of heat crashes over me, scorching every inch of my skin. I feel like I'm being consumed from the inside out, my body a raging inferno that no amount of water can douse. Focus on my voice, Celine says, her tone steady and reassuring. Breathe through it. Don't let the heat overwhelm you.
40 Ava, make your decision.
I suck in a ragged breath, trying to ground myself in Celine's words. But it's a losing battle. The fire within me rages on, unrelenting, unforgiving. Desire thunders through me, painful in its insistence of release. My body craves it, craves the touch of my alpha, craves a claiming that will sate this all-consuming need. I press my forehead against the cool tiles, willing the chill to seep into my scorched skin. But it's no use. The heat is unrelenting, a raging inferno that burns hotter with every passing second. Lucas, I whimper, my mind conjuring his image unbidden. I can almost feel his hands on me, his touch like a brand against my feverish flesh. The memory of our encounter in the garden flashes through my mind, vivid and torturous. The way he held me, the way he kissed me, the way he made me feel like I was the only thing that mattered in the world. A desperate, keening sound escapes my lips as the need intensifies, coiling tight in my core. I crave his touch, his scent, his claiming. Every fiber of my being.
40 Ava, make your decision.
Yearns for him, craves the completion that only he can provide. But he isn't here. My hands slide down. My body, my fingers diving.
Between my legs. There. It throbs.
Ava, listen to me. Celine's voice cuts through the haze of desire, sharp and insistent. You have to fight this. This is your last chance. But her words are lost in the maelstrom of want that consumes me. I'm drowning in it, suffocating under the weight of this primal need. The moment I touch my clit, I explode beneath the water with a harsh cry.
My legs tremble. It's hard to continue standing. I weep beneath the spray of water, unable to fight anymore. The heat has consumed me, burned away every last shred of resistance until all that remains is an insatiable primal need. My fingers work furiously between my legs, seeking a relief that remains ever elusive, each wave of pleasure crashing over me only to be swept away by the next.
40 Ava, make your decision.
Punishing surge of desire. Celine's voice echoes in my mind, but her words are garbled, lost in the haze of lust that clouds my every thought. I can't focus on anything except the aching emptiness inside me, the desperate yearning for a claiming that will finally quench these scorching
flames. Ava, you have to try. Don't give in.
But I'm powerless against the force of my heat, against the instincts that demand to be sated. My hips rock against my hand, chasing that elusive release, that fleeting moment of reprieve before the inferno rages
anew.
The water does nothing to cool my fevered skin. If anything, it seems to stoke the flames higher, every droplet a torturous caress that sends fresh waves of want spiraling through me. I'm drowning in it, suffocating beneath the weight of this all-consuming need.
Lucas.
His name is a breathless plea on my lips, a desperate invocation for the one my body craves above all else. I can almost feel him here, almost taste. 8.10.
40 Ava, make your decision.
The heat of his skin, the salt of his sweat.
Almost feel the hard planes of his body pressing against me, pinning me, claiming me as his own. A ragged sob tears from my throat as another climax washes over me, as hollow and unsatisfying as the ones before it. The pleasure is fleeting, a mere ripple against the tidal wave of desire that batters me relentlessly. He's here, Celine warns, her voice cutting through the fog. I sag against the tiles, boneless and trembling, my fingers still buried deep as the aftershocks roll through me. But even as the last vestiges of my orgasm fade, the heat flares brighter, hotter, more insistent than
ever.
It's never going to end. A low, rumbling growl reaches my ears, cutting through the haze of lust like a bolt of lightning. My head snaps up, my gaze locking onto the figure stepping into the bathroom, his eyes blazing with a feral hunger that mirrors my own.
Clayton. 40 Ava, make your decision.
He's here, just like Celine said. And he's already shirtless, his bronzed skin glistening with sweat, the hard planes of his abdomen rippling with each harsh
breath he takes.
Our eyes meet, and the world seems to grind to a halt.
Comment 4.
View all.
Ah.
Leave the first comment for this chapt.